A calm evening by the fireplace in 1800s America. The evening arrives slowly. There is no hurry in the fading light. No sudden change. No sharp line between day and night. Instead, the sun lowers itself gently toward the distant horizon, painting the fields and forests with warm shades of gold and amber. Across much of America in the early 19th century, this quiet moment is one of the most familiar parts of daily life. The day's work is almost finished. The animals have been fed. The tools have been put away. The garden has received its final glance before darkness. The wagon stands still. The dusty road outside has grown quieter with every passing minute. A cool breeze moves through the trees. The leaves whisper softly. Somewhere in the distance, a dog barks once and then falls silent again. Inside a small wooden house, a family prepares for another peaceful evening. The house itself is simple. Its walls are built from timber cut nearby. The floors creak gently beneath careful footsteps. The windows are small compared to those of modern homes. Their glass is imperfect, creating tiny waves and distortions that bend the fading sunlight into unusual shapes. The house is not large. Most homes of the period are not. Every room serves many purposes. Space is valuable. Furniture is practical. Nothing is wasted if it can still be used. The smell of wood fills the air. Wood is everywhere. Wood forms the walls, the floor, the furniture, the shelves, and the firewood stacked neatly beside the hearth. At the center of the home stands the fireplace. It is more than decoration. It is warmth. It is light. It is comfort. It is one of the most important parts of daily life. As evening approaches, someone kneels beside the hearth. The ashes from the previous fire have already been cleaned away earlier in the day. Dry logs wait nearby, carefully split and stacked. A few pieces of kindling are arranged beneath larger pieces of wood. Soon a small flame appears. At first it is little more than a flicker. Then another. And another. The kindling begins to crackle. The fire slowly grows stronger. Orange light starts dancing across the room. Shadows appear on the walls. The evening has truly begun. Outside, the sky continues changing. The bright blue of afternoon slowly softens. Warm colors spread across the western horizon. Gold becomes orange. Orange becomes pink. Pink fades into gentle shades of purple. The first stars wait patiently above. For many Americans living during this period, evenings are deeply connected to the rhythms of nature. Without electric lights filling every room, darkness remains an important part of life. People notice sunsets. They notice moonlight. They notice clouds drifting across the stars. They notice the changing seasons because the seasons shape daily routines. In summer, daylight lasts longer. In winter, darkness arrives early. The evening experience changes with the time of year. Tonight, however, the weather is mild. The air outside feels fresh. The fields stretch quietly into the distance. Perhaps this home stands near a small farming community. Perhaps it rests beside a forest. Perhaps it sits near a river where the water moves steadily over smooth stones. Many Americans of the early 1800s live in rural areas. Cities exist, of course, but much of the country is made up of farms, villages, and scattered settlements. Life moves at a different pace here. Travel takes time. News travels slowly. Letters may require days or weeks to arrive. The world feels larger. Distances feel longer. Yet evenings often bring people together. As darkness settles outside, family members gather near the warmth of the fire. The flames provide both heat and light. Candles may also be used, but candles cost money and effort. Every candle represents work. Some families make their own candles from tallow. Others purchase them when supplies allow. Either way, candles are not wasted carelessly. The fireplace remains the heart of the evening. A rocking chair sits nearby. Its gentle movement produces a soft creaking sound. Someone settles into the chair after a long day. The motion is slow. Back and forth. Back and forth. The rhythm feels calming. Almost like the movement of waves along a quiet shore. The room grows warmer. The smell of burning oak drifts through the air. Each type of wood produces its own scent. Each fire sounds slightly different. Some logs crack loudly. Others burn quietly. Some create bright sparks. Others glow steadily. People living during this period become familiar with these small differences. Fire is part of everyday life. Its sounds are comforting. Its warmth is dependable. Its light softens the edges of the room. Dinner may already be finished. Or perhaps it is still being prepared. Simple meals are common. Fresh bread sits on the table. Vegetables from the garden provide nourishment. Beans, potatoes, corn, and squash appear frequently. Depending on the region, there may be stews, roasted meats, or preserved foods stored from previous seasons. Food reflects the local landscape. Families eat what they can grow, raise, hunt, trade, or preserve. The meal itself is rarely rushed. After a long day of labor, people appreciate these quiet moments. Conversation moves slowly. There is no television. No radio. No glowing screens. The entertainment of the evening often comes from one another. Stories are shared. News is discussed. Memories are repeated. Children listen carefully. Older family members remember events from years ago. Some stories have been told many times before. Yet they remain welcome. A familiar story can feel as comforting as a favorite blanket. Outside, twilight deepens. The last sunlight disappears beyond the horizon. The world becomes softer. Shapes lose their sharp outlines. Trees become dark silhouettes against the evening sky. The stars begin appearing one by one. For people of the early 19th century, the night sky often looks astonishingly bright. Far from modern city lights, countless stars fill the darkness. The Milky Way stretches overhead like a pale river of light. Children sometimes step outside simply to look upward. Adults do the same. The sky feels immense. Endless. Quiet. A gentle reminder of how large the world truly is. Back inside, the fire continues burning steadily. Its glow reaches every corner of the room. The walls shine with warm colors. The furniture casts long shadows. A kettle hangs nearby. Water warms slowly above the flames. Soon there may be tea. Perhaps coffee. Perhaps a simple hot drink prepared from herbs gathered locally. The warmth spreads through tired hands. The day begins to loosen its grip. Work is finished. Responsibilities can wait until morning. For now, there is only the fire. Only the evening. Only the quiet comfort of home. The sounds of the house become easier to notice. A floorboard settles. A chair creaks. The wind brushes gently against the outside wall. A distant owl calls from somewhere in the darkness. These sounds are familiar companions. No one pays them much attention. Yet they form the background music of countless evenings. In many homes, sewing occupies part of the evening. A basket rests beside the chair. Needles move carefully through fabric. Small repairs are completed before clothing becomes too worn. Nothing is discarded unnecessarily. Every piece of cloth has value. Every button matters. A torn sleeve can be mended. A worn blanket can be patched. The steady work of sewing matches the steady rhythm of the fire. Slow. Patient. Unhurried. Others may spend the evening reading. Books are treasured possessions. Not every household owns many books. Some own only a few. Yet those books are often read again and again. The family Bible may occupy a place of honor. Collections of stories, poems, or practical knowledge are shared among family members. Reading aloud is common. One voice fills the room while others listen. The crackling fire provides accompaniment. Outside, darkness settles completely across the countryside. The road beyond the house is nearly invisible now. Travel after dark is often difficult. Most people remain where they are. The evening becomes a time of rest. A time of stillness. A time when the busy world seems to shrink until only the nearby fire remains important. The flames dance gently. Their movement is endlessly fascinating. People can watch a fire for long periods without growing tired of it. The patterns never repeat exactly. The colors constantly shift. Orange becomes yellow. Yellow becomes white. White fades into glowing red embers. Then the cycle begins again. The fire is alive with motion, yet somehow peaceful. Children sitting nearby may feel sleepy. Their eyelids grow heavier. The warmth of the room wraps around them. The long day has left them tired. Soon they will climb stairs or cross the room toward their beds. But not yet. For now they remain close to the hearth. Listening. Watching. Feeling safe within the circle of firelight. Beyond the windows, the night continues quietly. The stars shine above forests, rivers, farms, villages, and distant mountains. Across the young nation, thousands upon thousands of fireplaces glow in the darkness. Each one tells a similar story. Families gathering. Meals ending. Conversations slowing. Another ordinary evening unfolding gently beneath the vast American sky. And as the fire burns steadily and the house settles into comfortable silence, the peaceful rhythm of the night continues, carrying everyone a little closer toward sleep. The fire burns a little lower now. Not enough to dim the room, but enough to change its character. The bright flames of early evening begin giving way to a deeper glow. The logs settle slowly upon one another. Small pockets of air trapped inside the wood release tiny pops and cracks. The sound is gentle, comforting, predictable. A person living in 1800s America would hear these sounds almost every evening of the year. The fireplace is not merely a source of warmth. It is a companion through the long hours of darkness. Outside the house, the night air grows cooler. A thin layer of mist begins forming over low fields and meadows. Grass bends beneath tiny drops of moisture. Along fences and stone walls, shadows gather quietly. The countryside seems to breathe more slowly after sunset. The busy movement of the day has ended. The horses stand quietly in their stalls. The cows rest peacefully. Chickens settle onto their roosts. Even the insects seem softer now. Their steady songs drift through open windows and across darkened yards. Inside the house, the family enjoys the kind of calm that comes only after honest work. The day may have begun before sunrise. Many mornings in rural America start long before the first light appears. Farmers rise early. Children often help with chores. Animals need attention regardless of weather. Fields require care. Gardens require tending. Wood must be chopped. Water must be carried. There is always something to do. Yet evening offers a reward. Not a grand reward. Not wealth. Not luxury. Simply rest. Simple rest feels valuable when earned through effort. The chairs near the fireplace are occupied now. One person may be quietly repairing a tool. Another may be sewing. Someone else may simply sit and enjoy the warmth. There is no pressure to remain busy every moment. Sometimes the most pleasant activity is doing very little at all. The flames provide enough entertainment. Their movement captures the eye. Their warmth eases tired muscles. Their glow creates a feeling of safety. In homes throughout America, fireplaces have witnessed countless ordinary moments. A child learning to read. A grandmother telling stories. A father carving a wooden handle for a tool. A mother folding freshly washed clothes. Small moments. Quiet moments. Moments that rarely appear in history books. Yet these simple evenings make up much of human life. The grand events of history often receive the most attention. Battles. Presidents. Explorers. Important speeches. But most people spend their lives much differently. Most people wake up, work, share meals, care for family, and rest. The evening by the fireplace belongs to that quieter side of history. The side built from ordinary days. Tonight, perhaps a loaf of bread still cools on a nearby table. The smell lingers in the room. Fresh bread carries a comforting scent unlike almost anything else. Warm. Earthy. Familiar. Flour, water, yeast, and patience. Simple ingredients transformed through careful work. Many households bake regularly. Store-bought food exists in some places, but self-sufficiency remains important. People often produce much of what they consume. Gardens supply vegetables. Orchards provide fruit. Animals provide milk, eggs, and meat. Smokehouses preserve food for winter. Cellars store potatoes and root vegetables. The changing seasons guide nearly every aspect of life. Summer brings growth. Autumn brings harvest. Winter encourages conservation. Spring begins the cycle again. Around the fireplace, these seasonal rhythms remain close to everyone's thoughts. The weather affects nearly everything. A good growing season can bring comfort. A difficult season may require careful planning. People become skilled at observing nature. They notice cloud patterns. They study winds. They watch the behavior of animals. The natural world provides important clues. Far beyond the house, the moon begins its journey across the sky. Its pale light touches fields and forests. Silver reflections shimmer upon rivers and ponds. The landscape takes on a dreamlike quality. Even familiar places seem slightly different beneath moonlight. A path traveled every day suddenly feels mysterious. A tree appears larger. A hill seems farther away. The darkness changes perspective. Yet there is little fear in this scene. Night is a normal part of life. People understand it well. They respect it. They adapt to it. Without bright electric lights, their eyes become accustomed to darkness. Moonlight often provides more visibility than modern people might expect. The stars themselves seem almost close enough to touch. Back inside, someone reaches for a small book. The cover shows signs of age. Its pages have been turned many times. Perhaps it contains stories. Perhaps poems. Perhaps practical knowledge gathered from earlier generations. Books are valuable possessions. Paper is not taken for granted. A well-loved book may remain in a family for decades. Children learn from it. Parents read from it. Grandchildren eventually inherit it. The words travel through time. The firelight flickers across the page. Letters dance slightly as shadows move. Reading by candlelight or firelight requires patience. Eyes grow tired more quickly. Still, many people enjoy these quiet moments. A good story feels especially pleasant during a calm evening. The words seem warmer somehow. More personal. As though the storyteller sits directly beside the listener. Outside, a breeze moves through the trees. Branches sway gently. Leaves rustle against one another. The sound resembles distant waves. Nature rarely becomes completely silent. Even during the quietest nights, small sounds continue. A cricket sings. A frog calls from a nearby pond. An owl glides between dark branches. The world remains active even while people rest. Hours pass slowly. No one watches a glowing clock. Time is measured differently. The fire grows lower. The moon rises higher. The room becomes quieter. These natural markers matter more than exact minutes. Many homes own clocks, of course. Some possess tall grandfather clocks standing proudly against a wall. Others have smaller timepieces. Yet daily life still follows broader rhythms. Sunrise. Midday. Sunset. The changing seasons. The ringing of church bells in nearby towns. Time feels connected to nature. Not separated from it. A young child near the fire struggles to remain awake. The warmth of the room is simply too comforting. Heavy eyelids blink slowly. The voices of adults become softer and softer. The steady crackle of burning wood begins sounding almost like a lullaby. Eventually, the child leans against a parent or curls into a nearby chair. Sleep arrives gently. No ceremony. No announcement. Just the natural conclusion to a long day. The adults smile quietly. Such scenes have happened countless times. Generation after generation. One sleepy child after another. The firelight paints warm colors across peaceful faces. For a few moments, everything feels perfectly still. The house itself seems relaxed. The wooden beams overhead remain strong and steady. The walls hold back the cool night air. The roof shelters everyone beneath it. Though simple by modern standards, the home represents security. Every board and nail required effort. Every improvement required labor. People often build portions of their homes themselves or with help from neighbors. Communities rely upon cooperation. When a barn needs raising, neighbors assist. When a family faces hardship, others often help. Life can be difficult, but shared effort eases many burdens. The fireplace reflects the spirit of cooperation. The wood feeding the flames was cut by human hands. The hearth was built by skilled labor. The home surrounding it came together piece by piece through work and determination. Now all of that effort produces this quiet evening. This simple comfort. This warm room glowing softly against the darkness outside. The embers shift. A shower of tiny sparks rises briefly before disappearing. Someone adds another log. The fresh wood settles into place. Soon new flames emerge. Orange light brightens once more. The cycle continues. Fire becoming ember. Ember becoming flame. Flame becoming warmth. The process feels timeless. Almost unchanged across centuries. Perhaps a family dog lies nearby. curled beside the hearth. Its breathing slow and steady. The animal enjoys the warmth as much as anyone. Occasionally an ear twitches. A paw stretches. Then stillness returns. Pets have long been part of household life. Their quiet presence contributes to the peaceful atmosphere. Outside, clouds drift slowly across part of the sky. For a few moments, the moon disappears behind them. The landscape darkens. Then the clouds move onward. Silver light returns. Shadows reappear. The night continues its patient journey. Inside, conversations become fewer. Words are no longer necessary. The comfort of shared presence is enough. People sit together. Listening. Thinking. Resting. The fire provides all the company required. And somewhere beyond the windows, beyond the fields and forests, beyond rivers and distant hills, countless other homes experience similar evenings. Other fires glow. Other families rest. Other voices fade into silence. Across the wide American landscape of the 1800s, a quiet network of hearths shines against the darkness, each one offering warmth, shelter, and peace. The night deepens. The room grows calmer. The flames continue their gentle dance. And the long, unhurried evening carries everyone a little farther into the comforting stillness of the hours before sleep. The night settles more deeply around the house. The last traces of twilight have long since disappeared. Darkness now stretches across the fields, through the forests, and over the winding roads that connect one small settlement to another. Inside, however, the fire continues to glow. Its warm light reaches outward in a soft circle, pushing back the darkness that waits beyond the windows. The room feels smaller at night. Not in an unpleasant way. Rather, it feels closer. More intimate. The walls seem to gather around the family, creating a sheltered world of warmth and comfort. Beyond those walls lies the vast countryside. Inside them lies peace. The contrast is gentle but noticeable. During daylight hours, life extends outward. People work in fields. Travel roads. Visit neighbors. Care for animals. Gather supplies. The world feels large and open. But when evening arrives, attention turns inward. Toward home. Toward family. Toward the simple comforts waiting beside the fire. A kettle continues warming near the hearth. Occasionally, a faint whisper of steam rises into the air. The scent of tea leaves or dried herbs drifts softly through the room. Perhaps mint gathered from a garden. Perhaps chamomile carefully dried months earlier. Perhaps another local plant known for its pleasant flavor. Warm drinks have a special place in quiet evenings. The cup itself becomes a source of comfort. Warm hands. Warm thoughts. Warm conversation. Outside, the breeze has become lighter. The trees stand nearly still. Only the highest branches move slightly against the star-filled sky. Moonlight rests upon rooftops and fences. Silver highlights trace the edges of barns and sheds. The landscape appears peaceful enough to remain unchanged forever. Yet even in stillness, time continues moving forward. The years pass. The seasons turn. Children grow. Families change. New generations take the places of those before them. The fireplace witnesses it all. For many families, the hearth becomes a silent observer of life itself. Babies are carried past it. Children play near it. Young people sit beside it and dream about the future. Older people rest beside it and remember the past. The fire burns through every chapter. Steady. Reliable. Present. Perhaps tonight an elderly family member occupies a favorite chair. The chair has molded itself over years of use. Its arms are smooth from countless hands. Its wood carries tiny marks and scratches gathered over decades. Every object inside the home has a story. A table built by a father. A quilt sewn by a grandmother. A shelf crafted by a neighbor. These possessions are not merely things. They are reminders. Connections. Pieces of family history quietly woven into daily life. The older person gazes into the fire. The flames seem to awaken memories. Perhaps memories of earlier winters. Earlier homes. Earlier evenings much like this one. Human memory often works that way. A smell. A sound. A particular quality of light. Suddenly the past feels very close. The crackle of burning wood may bring back childhood evenings from many years ago. A familiar scent may recall faces long gone. The fire becomes a bridge between different moments in life. The young rarely notice this. For them, most memories still lie ahead. But older generations understand. The years pass more quickly than anyone expects. The evening encourages reflection. Not deep reflection. Not troubled reflection. Simply the gentle remembering that comes naturally during quiet hours. Elsewhere in the room, a needle continues moving through fabric. The work is slow and careful. Tiny stitches join pieces together. A shirt receives a repair. A blanket gains another patch. Clothing in the early 19th century often requires regular attention. Fabric represents valuable labor. Cotton must be grown. Wool must be sheared. Threads must be spun. Cloth must be woven. Nothing is casually discarded. People become skilled at extending the life of everyday items. There is a quiet satisfaction in maintaining useful things. The sewing continues. The fire crackles. The clock ticks. 3 simple sounds. Together they create the soundtrack of the evening. Tick. Crackle. Stitch. Tick. Crackle. Stitch. The rhythm feels almost hypnotic. Comfortably repetitive. Outside, a horse shifts within a nearby stable. The faint sound drifts through the night air. Animals settle differently than humans. Some remain awake for portions of the night. Others sleep deeply. Farm life creates a close awareness of these patterns. People learn the habits of every creature around them. They know which birds sing before dawn. Which animals move after sunset. Which sounds signal ordinary activity. And which sounds deserve attention. Tonight, everything seems peaceful. The animals are calm. The weather is gentle. The house is warm. There is nothing urgent demanding notice. Such evenings are treasured, even if no one says so aloud. A peaceful evening can feel ordinary while it is happening. Only later does its value become fully clear. Many people spend entire lives searching for moments exactly like this. A safe home. A warm fire. A quiet night. Good company. The simple things often endure longest in memory. As the hours pass, stories may begin to emerge. Not grand stories. Not dramatic tales. Just small recollections shared between family members. Someone remembers a winter storm from years ago. Another recalls a successful harvest. Someone laughs softly about an old misunderstanding. The stories move gently from one to another. No one rushes. There is plenty of time. The night is long. Words flow naturally. Then silence returns. Then another story begins. This rhythm feels comfortable. Conversation and silence existing side by side. Neither one competing with the other. The fire continues casting moving shadows across the walls. Every now and then a log shifts. A glowing ember tumbles downward. The flames briefly brighten, then settle once more. Watching a fire encourages patience. Nothing happens quickly. The changes are gradual. A burning log slowly transforms into glowing coals. The coals slowly become ash. The process cannot be hurried. Perhaps that is part of its charm. The fire quietly reminds everyone to slow down. To notice small things. To appreciate the present moment. Beyond the windows, the stars shine steadily. For travelers crossing the countryside at night, those stars provide guidance. Many roads remain rough. Some are little more than worn paths. Travel after dark requires caution. Lanterns help. Moonlight helps. Experience helps most of all. Many people prefer reaching their destination before nightfall. Yet sometimes journeys continue beneath the stars. A wagon rolls slowly down a distant road. Horse hooves produce a steady rhythm. The traveler sees scattered lights in the distance. Each light marks a home. Each home contains its own evening story. Perhaps another family gathers around another fireplace. Perhaps someone reads aloud. Perhaps a child falls asleep beside the hearth. The scene repeats itself across the countryside. Again and again. The details change. The feeling remains remarkably similar. Warmth. Safety. Rest. Back inside the house, the younger children have likely gone to bed. The room feels quieter without them. Their absence creates more space. More stillness. The adults remain awake a little longer. There are always a few final tasks to complete. A few thoughts to share. A few moments to enjoy before sleep. One person stands and adds another log to the fire. The fresh wood catches slowly. New flames curl upward. The room brightens again. The orange glow reflects in nearby windows. For a brief moment, the glass acts like a mirror. The dark night outside disappears. Only the room remains visible. Only the fire. Only the people gathered around it. The reflection creates an almost dreamlike image. A small island of warmth floating within an ocean of darkness. Eventually, the flames settle once more. The house grows quieter still. Even conversation begins to fade. Words become fewer. Thoughts become slower. The comfort of the evening wraps around everyone like a well-worn blanket. The fire crackles softly. The clock continues ticking. The wind brushes lightly against the outside wall. And somewhere beneath the endless stars of 1800s America, another peaceful hour drifts quietly by, carried forward on the warm glow of the hearth and the gentle promise of rest. The evening has now become night. Not the early night of supper and conversation, but the deeper night that arrives when most of the day's activity has faded completely away. The fire remains the brightest thing in the room. Its glow spreads softly across the floorboards, reaching toward corners where shadows rest quietly. The flames are calmer now. They no longer leap as high as they did earlier. Instead, they move with a slow confidence. A steady burning. A steady warmth. A steady presence. Outside the house, the countryside sleeps beneath the stars. Fields stretch into darkness. Woodlands stand silent beneath moonlit skies. Small streams continue their endless journeys through valleys and meadows. The water flows as it did yesterday. As it will tomorrow. As it has for countless years. Nature keeps its own schedule. Patient. Unhurried. Reliable. For many Americans living in the early 19th century, this connection to nature is impossible to ignore. The land shapes nearly every aspect of daily life. A farmer notices the condition of the soil. A hunter watches animal tracks. A fisherman studies rivers and weather. Even those living in towns remain closely connected to the changing seasons. The natural world is not distant. It is part of everyday experience. And nowhere does that connection feel stronger than during a quiet evening. When work ends and noise fades, the sounds of nature become easier to hear. Tonight, an owl calls again from somewhere beyond the trees. Its voice rises briefly through the darkness. Then silence returns. A few moments later, another owl answers from farther away. The exchange is simple. Short. Ancient. The birds have likely been doing the same thing for generations. Inside, the people near the fire barely pause. Such sounds are familiar. Comfortingly familiar. The countryside has its own nighttime language. Crickets. Owls. Frogs. Rustling leaves. Flowing water. Distant animals moving through fields. Each sound belongs to the landscape. Each contributes to the feeling of place. A candle burns on a nearby table. Its small flame flickers whenever someone passes. The light from the candle joins the light from the fire, creating layers of warm illumination. Nothing feels harsh. Nothing feels bright. The room exists in shades of gold and amber. Shadows drift slowly across the walls. Furniture seems softer in this light. The edges of objects become less distinct. Everything appears calmer. The atmosphere encourages quiet thoughts. One person opens a small wooden box. Inside are letters. Carefully folded. Carefully preserved. Letters carry special meaning in an age when long-distance communication moves slowly. Every letter represents effort. Someone sat down to write it. Someone traveled to deliver it. Someone waited for its arrival. The paper itself feels valuable. The words even more so. Perhaps the letter came from a relative living in another state. Perhaps from a son working in a distant town. Perhaps from a friend who moved westward in search of opportunity. America in the 1800s is growing. Expanding. Changing. Families are often separated by great distances. Letters help bridge those distances. The person unfolds one carefully. The paper crackles softly. Firelight dances across the handwriting. The familiar words bring familiar faces to mind. Memories travel easily through written pages. The room grows even quieter as the letter is read. Not every sentence needs to be spoken aloud. Some thoughts are private. Some moments are best enjoyed silently. Outside, the moon continues climbing across the sky. Its light spills across rooftops and fences. The shadows of tree branches stretch across the ground. A gentle frost may even begin forming if the season is cool enough. Tiny crystals gather upon grass and leaves. Each one catches the moonlight. Each one sparkles briefly before dawn eventually returns. But dawn remains far away. The night still has many hours left. Near the fireplace, a cat emerges from some hidden corner of the house. The animal moves carefully across the floor. Its paws make almost no sound. After a moment, it settles near the hearth. The warm stones provide a perfect resting place. Soon the cat curls into a comfortable shape. Its eyes close. Its breathing slows. The fire has always attracted living things. People. dogs, cats. Everyone appreciates warmth during cool evenings. The room feels increasingly peaceful. The kind of peace that settles naturally when there is nowhere else to be. Nothing else demanding attention. Only the present moment. Only the gentle passing of time. Perhaps someone begins knitting. The wooden needles click softly together. Another quiet sound joins the room. The growing fabric rests across a lap. Row after row appears slowly. Patiently. The work requires focus but not strain. Hands know the movements well. Years of practice have made them almost automatic. Such evening tasks are common. They keep hands busy while allowing the mind to relax. The work progresses. The fire burns. The clock ticks. Everything moves forward at its own gentle pace. Across the nation, millions of similar evenings unfold. Some homes are large. Others are small. Some belong to prosperous families. Others belong to families with very little. Yet the evening fire often creates a shared experience. Regardless of wealth, people gather around warmth. Regardless of circumstance, people appreciate rest. The glow of a hearth can make even a modest home feel welcoming. The simplicity of the scene gives it strength. No luxury is required. No grand decoration. Only shelter. Only warmth. Only companionship. A sudden gust of wind brushes against the outside walls. The house responds with a faint creak. The wooden structure shifts ever so slightly. Then stillness returns. Old houses develop personalities over time. They produce familiar sounds. A particular floorboard creaks in one place. A certain door settles differently than the others. The roof makes quiet noises during changing weather. Families become accustomed to these sounds. Eventually they are no longer noticed. The house becomes as familiar as a family member. Every corner carries memories. Every room contains stories. The fireplace itself has likely witnessed thousands of evenings. Thousands of meals. Thousands of conversations. Thousands of quiet moments exactly like this one. The thought feels comforting. Human lives change quickly. Yet some things remain. The same hearth warms one generation after another. Children grow into parents. Parents become grandparents. The fire continues burning. The night deepens. The stars slowly shift across the sky. Few people notice the movement directly. It happens too gradually. Yet hour by hour, the heavens continue their silent journey overhead. A person glances toward the window. The sight is beautiful. Dark trees. Silver moonlight. Countless stars. There is no urgency in the view. No movement demanding attention. Only calm. Only stillness. The sight invites reflection. Not serious reflection. Simply quiet appreciation. The world feels larger at night. Yet somehow more peaceful. The darkness hides distant details and leaves only the essentials. Sky. Land. Light. Shadow. Back beside the fire, another log settles deeper into the glowing coals. A small shower of sparks rises briefly. Orange flecks drift upward and disappear. The flames brighten for a moment. Then return to their steady dance. Watching the fire has become almost a form of meditation. Eyes follow the movement without effort. Thoughts drift gently. Minutes pass unnoticed. There is nothing to accomplish. Nothing to finish. Only the quiet enjoyment of the evening. The warmth reaches every corner of the room now. Even the far walls seem to glow faintly. The air smells of wood smoke and old timber. A comforting scent. A familiar scent. A scent that has filled American homes for generations. As midnight slowly approaches, the house settles deeper into silence. The youngest children are asleep. The animals are resting. The countryside outside remains calm beneath the stars. And beside the fireplace, where the fire continues its patient work of turning wood into glowing embers, another peaceful chapter of the evening unfolds with gentle simplicity. The night stretches onward. The warmth remains. The quiet grows deeper. And the soft glow of the hearth continues lighting the darkness, one steady flame at a time. The fire has changed again. Hours ago, bright flames danced eagerly across freshly placed logs. Now the hearth contains a mixture of glowing embers and smaller, quieter flames that rise gently from the wood. The room is darker than before. Yet it feels no less comfortable. In fact, many people would say the deepest part of the evening is the most peaceful. The busy moments have passed. The conversations have slowed. The tasks of the day are finished. What remains is simple stillness. The kind of stillness that settles naturally over a home during the late hours of night. Outside, the moon hangs high above the countryside. Its pale light falls across sleeping fields. Rows of crops stand quietly beneath the sky. Fences stretch through the darkness like thin lines drawn across the land. A barn sits motionless at the edge of a pasture. Its weathered boards have endured many seasons. Summer heat. Winter snow. Spring rains. Autumn winds. Year after year. Like the families who live nearby, the barn has become part of the landscape. It belongs to the rhythm of the place. Everything around it seems to breathe more slowly at night. The roads are empty. The fields are still. The forests rest beneath a blanket of shadows. Yet life continues quietly all around. A fox moves through distant grass. A rabbit pauses beneath a bush. A deer lifts its head and listens. The natural world never fully sleeps. It simply changes pace. Inside the house, the warmth of the fireplace spreads gently through the room. The heat has soaked into the wooden floorboards. Into the furniture. Into the thick walls themselves. Even the air feels different. Comfortably warm. Comfortably dry. Many homes during the early 1800s depend heavily upon their fireplaces during cooler months. Without them, winter nights would be difficult indeed. Wood must be gathered, cut, split, and stored long before cold weather arrives. Preparing for winter is a major task. Families spend months making certain enough fuel is available. Each stack of firewood represents future comfort, future warmth, future security. Tonight, the carefully prepared wood is doing its job. The flames burn steadily. The room remains welcoming. The darkness outside feels distant. A grandfather clock stands against one wall. Its pendulum swings patiently. Back and forth. Back and forth. The sound is soft but steady. Tick. Tock. Tick. Tock. The clock does not hurry. It does not slow. It simply continues. Hour after hour. Day after day. Year after year. Many families measure portions of life by that sound. Children grow up hearing it. Visitors notice it immediately. Older family members find comfort in its familiar rhythm. The clock and the fireplace seem to belong together. Both provide something important. One offers warmth. The other marks the passage of time. Together they quietly accompany countless evenings. Perhaps someone remains awake near the hearth. Not because there is work to finish. Not because there is worry. Simply because the night feels pleasant. The warmth is pleasant. The silence is pleasant. Sometimes there is no need for a reason. The chair creaks softly as they shift position. A blanket rests across their lap. The fabric feels worn but comfortable. Many blankets in the 1800s are handmade. Every stitch reflects time and effort. Perhaps the blanket was sewn years ago. Perhaps it was passed down through family members. Objects often remain in use for long periods. They become familiar companions in everyday life. Outside, clouds drift slowly across part of the sky. The moon disappears behind them for a short while. Without the moonlight, the countryside becomes darker. The outlines of trees fade. The fields nearly vanish into shadow. Only a few stars remain visible through the thin clouds. The darkness feels deeper. Yet it remains peaceful. The people living in rural America know this darkness well. It is not something unusual. It is simply night. As familiar as sunrise. As familiar as rain. As familiar as changing seasons. Eventually the clouds pass. Moonlight returns. The silver glow spreads once more across the landscape. Shadows reappear. The world becomes visible again. Near the fireplace, a small pile of books rests upon a shelf. The collection is modest. A Bible. Perhaps a volume of poetry. Perhaps a book of history. Perhaps a practical guide filled with useful knowledge. Books are precious. They travel carefully from owner to owner. Pages become worn from repeated reading. Corners soften. Bindings age. Yet the words remain. A person reaches for one of these books. The cover feels familiar beneath their fingers. They have opened it many times before. The pages rustle softly. Firelight flickers across the printed text. Reading at night requires patience. The light is gentle rather than bright. Words emerge slowly from the page. The experience encourages a slower pace. A more thoughtful pace. There is no rush to finish. No rush to reach the next chapter. The journey itself feels satisfying. Outside, somewhere far away, a train whistle echoes faintly through the darkness. Not every part of America hears such sounds during this period, but railroads are gradually becoming part of the landscape in many regions. The sound travels across fields and forests. A long, lonely note floating through the night air. Then silence returns. For a few moments, the listener imagines the distant train. The passengers inside. The cargo it carries. The places it connects. America is growing larger and more connected with each passing decade. Yet in this quiet room beside the fire, the changes of the wider world feel far away. The evening remains unchanged. Warmth. Light. Comfort. The essentials remain the same. A few glowing embers shift within the hearth. Their color is beautiful. Deep orange. Bright red. Occasionally almost white at the center. The coals seem alive in their own way. Breathing softly. Radiating warmth long after the tallest flames have faded. Many experienced homeowners understand the value of good embers. A bed of glowing coals can keep a room warm for hours. Sometimes enough heat remains to help start the next morning's fire. Knowledge like this passes from generation to generation. Quiet wisdom learned through experience. The sort of knowledge rarely written in books. The sort learned by watching. By doing. By living. The night continues moving forward. Outside, frost begins forming on exposed surfaces. The grass sparkles faintly beneath the moon. Fence posts acquire thin white edges. The world appears delicate. Almost magical. Yet entirely natural. The changing temperature is simply another part of the evening. Inside, however, the room remains comfortable. The fire continues its patient work. The blanket remains warm. The chair remains inviting. Every element contributes to the feeling of safety. The feeling of home. Perhaps the person near the hearth closes their book for a moment. Their eyes drift toward the flames. Thoughts wander gently. Nothing urgent. Nothing troubling. Just memories. Simple observations. Small reflections upon the day. The mind often becomes quieter during late evening. The noise of daily responsibilities fades. The future can wait until morning. For now, there is only this peaceful hour. Only the fire. Only the soft ticking of the clock. Only the occasional whisper of wind beyond the walls. The house itself seems sleepy. Its beams settle quietly. Its floors rest after a day of footsteps. Its rooms grow still. One by one, the sounds of activity disappear. Until only the smallest sounds remain. A crackling ember. A ticking clock. A distant owl. The steady breathing of a sleeping dog. These sounds fill the silence without disturbing it. They belong to the silence. They are part of it. The moon continues crossing the sky. The stars slowly wheel overhead. The night deepens further. And within the warm embrace of the fireplace, another quiet hour unfolds across the American countryside, gentle and unhurried, carrying the household ever closer to the peaceful rest waiting before dawn. The night has reached one of its quietest hours. The kind of hour that many people never see. The kind of hour that belongs to moonlight, distant stars, and the soft glow of fading embers. Most of the household is asleep now. Upstairs, or perhaps in neighboring rooms separated by simple wooden walls, gentle breathing rises and falls in steady rhythms. Beds are warm beneath handmade quilts. Blankets are pulled close against the coolness of the night. Dreams drift through quiet minds. Meanwhile, the fire remains awake. Not with bright energy. Not with excitement. Only with patient endurance. The logs have burned low, leaving a wide bed of glowing coals beneath a few lingering flames. The embers shine like scattered jewels across the hearth. Orange. Red. Gold. Their colors shift slowly as heat moves through them. The sight is beautiful in a simple way. Nothing dramatic. Nothing grand. Just the natural beauty of warmth meeting darkness. Outside, the countryside seems suspended in time. The roads are empty. No wagons roll across the dirt paths. No farmers work in the fields. No voices drift across the landscape. Everything waits quietly beneath the night sky. The moon has begun its slow descent toward the western horizon. Its light is softer now. Gentler somehow. Long shadows stretch across open ground. Fence posts stand like silent guardians along the edges of fields. Trees cast dark patterns upon the earth. The entire landscape appears calm enough to remain untouched forever. Yet even during these still hours, the world continues moving. A stream flows through a nearby valley. Water slips over smooth stones. Its journey never stops. Not during the day. Not during the night. Not during storms. Not during peaceful evenings. The stream simply continues. Steady and reliable. Much like the passage of time itself. Inside the house, the warmth from the fireplace has spread everywhere. The furniture feels warm to the touch. The wooden walls hold the heat gathered throughout the evening. The air remains comfortable despite the cool temperatures outside. Generations of Americans depended upon this warmth. A good fire could transform a cold night into a pleasant one. A well-built hearth could make a simple house feel welcoming and secure. Many families understood fireplaces almost as living parts of the home. They required attention, care, respect. In return, they provided comfort. A fair exchange. The embers glow quietly. Every now and then, a small piece of wood collapses inward. A brief shower of sparks rises. Then everything settles once more. These moments happen without witnesses. Most of the family sleeps peacefully. Only the house notices. Only the night notices. Only the fire itself. A soft breeze brushes against the exterior walls. The sound is barely noticeable. Just a faint whisper passing through nearby trees. The branches sway gently. Leaves rustle. Then stillness returns. Even nature seems reluctant to disturb the calm. Far above, the stars remain brilliant. The night sky of 1800s America often appears far brighter than many people experience today. Without electric lights spreading across the landscape, darkness remains truly dark. And because the darkness is deeper, the stars appear brighter. More numerous. More vivid. The Milky Way stretches overhead like a pale ribbon. Thousands upon thousands of tiny points of light fill the heavens. For countless generations, people have looked upward and felt the same quiet wonder. Farmers, travelers, children, grandparents. The stars belong to everyone. Tonight they shine above forests, rivers, farms, villages, and growing towns. They shine above every sleeping household. Every barn. Every church steeple. Every winding road. Their light touches the entire landscape equally. Back inside, the grandfather clock continues its steady work. Tick. Tock. Tick. Tock. The sound seems louder now simply because everything else is so quiet. Time moves forward. Minute by minute. Hour by hour. Yet there is no feeling of pressure. No urgency. Only movement. Gentle movement. The natural unfolding of another night. Perhaps somewhere in the house, a floorboard settles. The wood responds to changing temperatures. A small creak echoes briefly through the silence. Then disappears. Old houses possess countless tiny sounds. The sounds become familiar over years of living. A certain beam always settles at night. A particular door always shifts during cool weather. Families learn these sounds. They stop noticing them consciously. The noises become part of the home's personality. Part of its character. Part of its story. A cat sleeping near the hearth opens one eye briefly. The glowing embers still provide enough warmth to create a perfect resting place. The animal stretches slowly. Its back arches. Its tail flicks once. Then it curls into a comfortable position again. Sleep returns almost immediately. The fire and the cat continue keeping one another company. The hours drift onward. In many ways, this peaceful scene has remained unchanged for centuries. Before railroads. Before factories. Before telephones. Before electricity. People gathered around fires. People rested after long days. People listened to the sounds of the night. The details of life changed over time. But certain experiences remained remarkably constant. The comfort of warmth. The comfort of shelter. The comfort of knowing loved ones rest nearby. These simple comforts have always mattered. Perhaps more than anything else. Outside, a thin layer of frost now covers much of the ground. Moonlight catches the tiny crystals. The fields shimmer faintly. The world appears silver. Clean. Quiet. The air feels crisp and clear. Each breath outdoors would carry a refreshing chill. Yet inside the house, the difference is remarkable. The warmth creates a sense of protection. A barrier between the elements and the people resting within. That feeling of shelter runs deep in human history. A secure home has always been precious. A place where wind remains outside. Where rain remains outside. Where winter remains outside. Tonight, the home fulfills that purpose perfectly. The embers continue glowing. Their light grows softer as the hours pass. Some coals darken and fade. Others brighten unexpectedly when fresh air reaches them. The fire seems to breathe. Slowly. Patiently. Without hurry. Eventually, even the last active flames disappear. Only glowing coals remain. Yet the hearth is still beautiful. Perhaps even more beautiful now. The bright movement of flame has given way to a quiet radiance. A steady glow. A peaceful glow. The kind of light that encourages sleep. The kind of light that belongs to dreams. The room has become a place of shadows and warmth. A place where the night can pass safely and comfortably. Beyond the windows, the moon sinks a little lower. The stars continue their silent journey. The first hint of dawn remains far away, hidden beyond the horizon. For now, the night still belongs to itself. A calm and unbroken night. A night of rest. A night of stillness. A night illuminated only by moonlight, starlight, and the fading glow of a hard-working fireplace. And so the quiet hours continue across the American countryside, carrying every sleeping household gently forward through the darkness, wrapped in warmth, sheltered by sturdy walls, and watched over by the soft, enduring light of the hearth. The night moves onward with quiet determination. No one hears it pass. No one sees it traveling across the hours. Yet little by little, the darkness advances toward morning. Inside the house, the fireplace has become a bed of glowing coals. The bright flames that once filled the hearth are gone now. In their place remains a gentle radiance. Soft. Steady. Almost dreamlike. The room is darker than before, but not completely dark. The embers provide just enough light to reveal familiar shapes. A chair near the hearth. A table against the wall. The outline of a bookshelf. The shape of a sleeping cat curled beside the warm stones. Everything appears peaceful. Everything appears settled. The house itself seems to be sleeping. Its rooms rest quietly. Its floors remain still. Its doors remain closed. Only the occasional settling of old timber breaks the silence. A beam creaks softly. A floorboard shifts. Then calm returns. These sounds have accompanied the house for many years. Perhaps for decades. Long enough that they feel as natural as the wind outside. Long enough that no one thinks about them anymore. Beyond the windows, the countryside remains wrapped in darkness. The moon now hangs lower in the sky. Its silver light reaches across the landscape at a different angle than earlier in the evening. The shadows have shifted. Trees cast long patterns across frost-covered ground. Barn roofs shine faintly beneath the moonlight. Fields appear pale and quiet. A distant stream continues flowing through the darkness. Its water catches occasional flashes of moonlight before disappearing once more into shadow. The stream does not care whether it is day or night. It follows its path faithfully. year after year, season after season, generation after generation. Many things in nature possess this quiet reliability. The stars return each evening. The sun rises each morning. The seasons follow one another endlessly. Spring becomes summer. Summer becomes autumn. Autumn becomes winter. Then the cycle begins again. People living in 1800s America understand these rhythms deeply. Their lives are closely connected to them. A farmer cannot ignore the seasons. A gardener cannot ignore the weather. A family preparing for winter cannot ignore the approach of cold days. The natural world shapes daily life in countless ways. And during the quietest hours of the night, that connection feels especially strong. Inside the house, everyone remains asleep. The youngest children dream peacefully beneath quilts stitched by careful hands. Parents rest after long days of work. Grandparents sleep in rooms filled with memories accumulated over many years. The entire household shares a moment of collective stillness. The responsibilities of tomorrow have not yet arrived. The work of yesterday is complete. Only rest remains. Perhaps a faint scent of wood smoke still lingers in the air. It mixes with the smell of aged timber and warm wool blankets. The scents are familiar, comforting. A person living in this home would recognize them immediately. They are the smells of evening. The smells of safety. The smells of home. Near the fireplace, the embers continue their slow transformation. Some fade into dark ash. Others remain bright. Occasionally a hidden pocket of heat reveals itself. A coal glows suddenly brighter for a few moments before settling once more. The process is gradual. Almost impossible to notice unless one watches carefully. The fire is slowly completing its work. Turning wood into warmth. Turning warmth into memory. Turning another ordinary evening into another chapter of family life. Outside, a lone owl glides silently between trees. Its wings make almost no sound. It moves through the darkness with quiet confidence. For creatures of the night, these hours are not unusual. They are active while others sleep. The countryside contains many such hidden lives. Foxes moving through fields. Rabbits searching for food. Mice traveling beneath tall grass. Countless small stories unfolding beneath the stars. Most people never see them. Yet they are there all the same. Part of the larger rhythm of the landscape. Far above, the stars continue shining. Some appear brighter than others. Some twinkle gently. Some remain steady and clear. To many people living during this period, the night sky serves as both beauty and guide. Travelers use it for navigation. Sailors depend upon it. Farmers observe it. Children gaze at it with curiosity. The stars belong to everyday life in a way that is difficult to imagine in later centuries. They are always present. Always visible on clear nights. Always reminding people of the vast world beyond their own homes. Yet despite that vastness, tonight feels intimate. The house creates its own small universe. A universe of warmth and quiet. A universe defined by glowing embers and sleeping family members. A universe where everything important is close at hand. The hours after midnight often possess a unique feeling. The world seems suspended. Neither yesterday nor tomorrow. A brief pause between one day and the next. The mind becomes calmer during these hours. Thoughts slow down. Worries lose some of their weight. The darkness encourages simplicity. Nothing needs to be solved right now. Nothing needs to be accomplished. Morning will come when it comes. Until then, there is only rest. The grandfather clock continues marking the passage of time. Tick. Tock. Tick. Tock. Its steady rhythm fills the silence without disturbing it. The sound becomes part of the night itself. A reminder that time moves forward even when everything appears still. A reminder that every quiet evening eventually becomes memory. Yet there is comfort in that thought. The passing of time gives value to ordinary moments. Without realizing it, families create memories during evenings exactly like this one. No grand event occurs. No dramatic story unfolds. And yet these peaceful hours often remain in the heart longer than anything else. Years later, people remember the warmth of a fireplace, the sound of a clock, the smell of wood smoke, the sight of moonlight beyond a frosted window. Small details. Simple details. But powerful ones. The embers continue glowing softly. The cat sleeps peacefully. The house rests beneath the stars. Outside, the moon sinks lower still. Its journey across the sky approaches completion. The eastern horizon remains dark for now, but somewhere beyond it dawn waits patiently. Not yet. Soon. But not yet. The night still belongs to itself. And so another quiet hour passes across the American countryside. The roads remain empty. The fields remain still. The forests remain silent. Inside the house, warmth lingers around the fading hearth. The sleeping family remains wrapped in comfort. And the peaceful darkness continues stretching gently across the land, carrying the old home closer and closer to the first pale light of morning. The deepest part of the night is beginning to pass. It happens so gradually that no one notices. The stars still shine brightly overhead. The moon still hangs above the horizon. The fields and forests remain wrapped in darkness. And yet, somewhere far beyond sight, morning is already preparing its arrival. Inside the house, the warmth of the evening still lingers. The fireplace no longer burns with flames. Only a bed of glowing coals remains. Their light is faint now, but surprisingly steady. A soft orange glow rests among the ashes. Every so often, a small ember brightens for a moment, then settles once more. The hearth seems almost alive, breathing quietly in its sleep. The room around it has become a world of shadows. Furniture appears as dark shapes against darker walls. A chair waits beside the fireplace. A blanket remains folded across its arm. A pair of well-worn boots rests neatly near the door. Nothing moves. Nothing disturbs the silence. The entire house appears frozen in peaceful rest. Yet life is present everywhere. A sleeping dog dreams quietly near the far wall. A cat shifts slightly beside the warm stones of the hearth. The wind moves gently through distant trees. Even the old house itself continues its subtle conversation with the night. A beam settles. A floorboard relaxes. A nail hidden somewhere deep within the structure responds to changing temperatures. Tiny sounds. Ordinary sounds. The sounds of a home that has lived through many seasons. Outside, frost covers much of the countryside. The fields shimmer beneath moonlight. Every blade of grass seems touched by silver. Fence rails carry delicate white edges. The roofs of barns and sheds sparkle faintly under the stars. The landscape appears peaceful enough to belong in a dream. The cold air remains still. No storm approaches. No heavy wind arrives. Only calm. Only quiet. For many Americans living in the early 19th century, nights like this are deeply familiar. There are no electric streetlights glowing in the distance. No constant hum of machines. No bright signs shining across the landscape. Darkness remains an important part of life. People understand it, accept it, even appreciate it. Night creates space for rest, space for reflection, space for stillness. The stars become companions during these hours. The moon becomes a trusted visitor. The silence itself becomes comforting. Far above, countless stars continue their slow journey across the heavens. Some have already crossed half the sky since evening. Others now stand near their highest points. The movement is invisible moment by moment. Yet over the course of the night, everything changes. The heavens quietly turn overhead. People living in this era often know the night sky well. Many can recognize familiar constellations. They know where certain stars appear during different seasons. They understand the language of the heavens in a practical and personal way. A clear sky offers beauty. It also offers information. The stars tell stories. The moon marks time. The sky becomes another part of daily life. Inside the sleeping house, dreams drift through quiet minds. Perhaps a farmer dreams of spring planting. Perhaps a child dreams of a favorite horse. Perhaps an elderly grandparent dreams of earlier years and distant places. Dreams arrive softly during these peaceful hours. They weave themselves through memory and imagination. Outside, a deer moves carefully across the edge of a field. Its hooves make almost no sound. The animal pauses, listens, then continues. The countryside belongs partly to people and partly to wildlife. Both share the same rivers, the same forests, the same seasons, the same moonlit nights. The deer disappears into the shadows. Silence returns. Near the fireplace, the last meaningful warmth of the evening continues radiating from the coals. The heat is gentle now. No longer strong enough to warm an entire room. Yet enough remains to keep the hearth inviting. Enough remains to remind the house of the lively fire that burned earlier. The memory of warmth lingers long after the flames themselves have faded. In many ways, evenings leave similar traces. The conversation ends. The laughter ends. The stories end. Yet their feeling remains. The comfort remains. The memory remains. This particular evening has been an ordinary one. No remarkable event occurred. No visitor arrived with exciting news. No dramatic change interrupted the routine. And perhaps that is exactly what makes it beautiful. Most lives are built from ordinary evenings. Most memories grow from simple moments. A shared meal. A warm room. A quiet fire. A peaceful night. History often focuses on extraordinary events. But the true texture of life comes from evenings such as these. The countless calm nights that unfold without fanfare. The nights that pass almost unnoticed while they are happening. The nights remembered years later with surprising affection. The moon drifts lower. The shadows shift once again. The frost grows slightly thicker in open fields. The air becomes colder just before dawn. Nature moves through its familiar patterns. Everything follows its course. Everything belongs exactly where it should. Inside the house, a sleeper turns beneath a quilt. The mattress creaks softly. Then stillness returns. Elsewhere, someone breathes a little deeper. The sounds are small, gentle, almost impossible to hear. Yet they contribute to the feeling of life quietly continuing. The home is not empty. It is resting. There is a difference. A resting home feels warm even in silence. A resting home feels alive. The walls contain memories. The furniture contains history. The fireplace contains the lingering spirit of countless evenings. Generation after generation has gathered here. Children once sat beside these flames and listened to stories. Years later, those same children became parents. Then grandparents. The fire remained. The house remained. The evening rituals continued. Time changes people. But many simple comforts endure. The grandfather clock continues its faithful work. Tick. Tock. Tick. Tock. The sound drifts softly through the darkness. Its rhythm has accompanied the entire evening. It accompanied supper. It accompanied conversation. It accompanied the gradual arrival of sleep. Now it accompanies the final hours before dawn. Steady. Reliable. Patient. Much like the people who live here. Much like the land surrounding them. Beyond the windows, the eastern horizon remains dark. Yet the darkness no longer feels endless. Morning is drawing closer. Not quickly. Not dramatically. Just steadily. The same way every morning arrives. The same way every season arrives. The same way every year quietly becomes the next. The stars continue shining. The frost continues forming. The embers continue glowing. And within the peaceful shelter of this American home, the night carries on with gentle confidence, holding the sleeping household in warmth and silence while the first distant promise of dawn slowly approaches from beyond the horizon. The night is beginning to change. The change is so delicate that it would be easy to miss. The stars still shine overhead. The moon still casts its pale light across the fields. The frost still sparkles upon the ground. And yet something is different. The darkness no longer feels as deep as it did a few hours ago. Somewhere beyond the eastern horizon, the world is quietly preparing for morning. Inside the house, the fireplace rests in near silence. Most of the logs have completed their long work. The flames are gone now. Only scattered embers remain among layers of gray ash. Their glow is faint but persistent. A tiny island of warmth in an otherwise dark room. The stones surrounding the hearth still hold heat gathered throughout the evening. If someone were awake and sitting nearby, they would feel it. A gentle warmth rising into the cool air. A final gift from the fire before dawn arrives. The room itself seems wrapped in sleep. The chairs stand motionless. The table rests quietly beneath the fading glow. Books remain closed upon their shelves. The blanket draped across the rocking chair has not moved for hours. Everything appears peaceful. Everything appears content. Outside, the countryside remains still. The fields lie beneath a thin layer of frost. Moonlight glimmers across open meadows. Small ponds reflect the stars above. The forests stand dark and silent. Only the occasional movement of a nocturnal animal disturbs the calm. A fox trots along the edge of a field. Its fur catches the moonlight for a brief moment. Then it disappears into shadow. A rabbit pauses near a stone wall. Its ears turn toward a distant sound. Finding nothing alarming, it continues its quiet journey through the grass. Life continues throughout the night. Not loudly. Not urgently. Just steadily. The natural world never truly stops. It simply changes its rhythm. A gentle breeze moves across the landscape. The tops of trees sway slightly. Branches whisper to one another high above the ground. The sound is soft enough to blend into the silence. The kind of sound that might lull a tired listener even deeper into sleep. Inside the house, the family remains at rest. The youngest children sleep most deeply. Dreams carry them through imaginary adventures and familiar places. Perhaps they dream of horses running through fields. Perhaps they dream of fishing beside a stream. Perhaps they dream of things that will be forgotten by breakfast. Children often move easily between waking life and dreams. Their minds remain open to wonder. In another room, older family members rest beneath quilts stitched years ago. The fabric has provided warmth through countless winters. Each patch tells a story. Each stitch represents time and care. Handmade items carry a quiet kind of history. They hold the memory of the hands that created them. The quilts, the furniture, the shelves, even the house itself all reflect years of effort. Nothing arrived instantly. Everything required patience. Patience was woven into daily life. Perhaps that is one reason evenings felt so meaningful. After a day spent working carefully and steadily, rest felt well deserved. The fireplace had always marked that transition. Work ended. The fire was lit. The family gathered. The evening unfolded. Now the final chapter of that evening continues quietly in the darkness. The grandfather clock remains awake. Its pendulum swings faithfully. Tick. Tock. Tick. Tock. The sound seems almost alive. A heartbeat within the sleeping house. The clock asks for nothing. It simply keeps time. Minute after minute. Hour after hour. Year after year. Some members of the household may have heard that sound for their entire lives. It has accompanied birthdays, harvests, storms, quiet winters, happy gatherings, moments of sorrow, moments of joy. The clock has remained through it all. A silent witness to the passing years. Outside, the moon has moved noticeably lower now. Its journey across the sky is nearing completion. The silver light it casts has softened. The shadows are less sharp. The landscape appears gentler than before. The frost-covered fields resemble a pale blanket stretching across the countryside. The scene feels calm enough to remain unchanged forever. Yet change is already coming. Morning waits patiently beyond the horizon. The first birds have not yet begun to sing. The first sunlight has not yet appeared. But the world is moving toward those moments. Slowly. Naturally. Without hurry. The same way it has done for thousands of years. Near the fireplace, one particularly bright ember glows steadily. Its color shifts from deep red to brilliant orange. Then back again. The ember seems almost determined to remain awake a little longer. Eventually, it too will fade. But not yet. For now, it continues shining softly. The last visible memory of the evening fire. The smell of wood smoke still lingers faintly in the room. Not strong. Just enough to notice. Enough to remind anyone awake that a warm fire once filled this space with dancing light. Wood smoke carries a unique comfort. For many people, it becomes forever linked to home. To family. To evenings spent together. To safety during cold weather. Even years later, the scent can awaken old memories. Memories of winter nights. Memories of quiet conversations. Memories of sitting beside a glowing hearth while darkness rested outside. The house remains wrapped in those memories tonight. Its walls have absorbed countless evenings. Countless ordinary moments. The sort of moments that rarely appear in written history. Yet these moments form the foundation of everyday life. A peaceful supper. A shared story. A warm blanket. A quiet room. The glow of a fire. These simple experiences shaped generations. Far beyond this single house, thousands of similar homes rest beneath the stars. Across villages, farms, and small towns throughout America, other fireplaces have also burned low. Other families sleep peacefully. Other clocks tick softly in dark rooms. Other fields sparkle with frost beneath the moon. The nation may be vast, but certain experiences connect people across great distances. A calm evening. A warm hearth. A restful night. These things belong to everyone. The hours continue passing. The stars slowly shift westward. The moon sinks lower still. The darkness grows softer around the edges. And within the quiet shelter of the sleeping house, the last embers continue glowing patiently, holding on to the warmth of yesterday while welcoming the first gentle approach of a new day. The night is nearing its final hours. The darkness still covers the land, yet it no longer feels endless. Somewhere far beyond the eastern hills and forests, beyond rivers and open fields, dawn waits quietly. It does not rush. It never rushes. Morning arrives the same way every day. Patiently. Gently. One small change at a time. Inside the house, the last embers rest beneath a thin blanket of ash. Their glow is faint now. A few small points of orange remain visible deep within the hearth. They shine softly like distant stars hidden among gray clouds. The warmth they provide is subtle. Yet it is still there. Lingering. Comforting. The fireplace has completed most of its work for the night. Soon it will rest completely until someone kneels beside it again later in the morning. But for now, it remains awake. A quiet guardian watching over the sleeping home. The room is darker than it has been all evening. Moonlight entering through the windows now provides more illumination than the embers themselves. Silver light stretches across the floorboards. It touches the edge of a chair. It glides over the wooden table. It rests quietly upon a folded blanket. The familiar objects of the room appear transformed beneath this gentle glow. The ordinary becomes beautiful. Not because it has changed, but because the night reveals it differently. Outside, the countryside lies beneath a delicate layer of frost. Every field sparkles softly beneath the moon. Every fence rail glimmers faintly. The landscape appears calm and untouched. The roads remain empty. The barns remain silent. The trees stand motionless against the fading stars. It is one of the quietest moments of the entire day. Even nature seems to pause. The birds have not yet begun their morning songs. The farm animals remain asleep. The wind has settled. For a brief time, everything exists in perfect stillness. Inside the house, a sleeper shifts beneath a quilt. The mattress creaks gently. A blanket is pulled slightly higher. Then silence returns. These small sounds feel surprisingly important during the final hours of night. When the world grows quiet enough, even the smallest movements become noticeable. A soft sigh. A turning page left unfinished beside a chair. The faint breathing of a dog curled near the wall. Each sound contributes to the peaceful atmosphere. Each sound reminds us that the house is alive, even while it sleeps. The grandfather clock continues its patient rhythm. Tick. Tock. Tick. Tock. The pendulum swings steadily. Never hurrying. Never slowing. Its sound has become part of the home itself. Like the creak of the floorboards. Like the crackle of a fire. Like the whisper of wind outside. Some sounds become so familiar that they feel permanent. Generations grow accustomed to them. Children hear them throughout childhood. Adults hear them throughout their working years. Elderly family members hear them while remembering days gone by. The sounds become woven into memory. Outside, the moon has moved lower still. Its journey across the sky is nearly complete. The stars closest to the eastern horizon have begun to fade. Not because they are gone. Simply because morning approaches. The first signs are almost invisible. A slight softening of darkness. A faint change in the color of the sky. Nothing more. Yet nature notices. The world always seems to know when dawn is coming. A horse shifts quietly inside a nearby stable. Its movements are calm and unhurried. The animal senses the changing hours. Farm animals often awaken before people do. Their lives follow natural rhythms. Sunrise matters. Sunset matters. The passing of seasons matters. Life remains closely tied to the cycles of nature. For the families living in 1800s America, those same cycles shape daily existence. The day ahead will bring work. Animals will need care. Gardens will need attention. Wood may need splitting. Water may need carrying. Meals will need preparation. The responsibilities of life will return soon enough. But not yet. For now, the night still holds the house in its quiet embrace. These final moments before dawn possess a special quality. The world feels suspended between yesterday and today. The concerns of the coming day have not yet arrived. The tasks of the previous day have already been completed. Nothing is required. Nothing is expected. There is only rest. Only stillness. Only the soft passage of time. Near the fireplace, a cat opens its eyes briefly. The warmth from the stones has begun to fade. The animal stretches slowly. Its body arches gracefully. After a moment, it settles again and closes its eyes. Sleep remains more appealing than movement. The room remains more inviting than the chilly world outside. A faint scent of ash drifts from the hearth. The smell blends with the scent of old wood and wool blankets. Together they create the unmistakable atmosphere of a 19th century home. Simple. Honest. Comforting. The walls themselves seem to hold the memory of countless fires. Countless winters. Countless evenings exactly like this one. Every season has left its mark. Every generation has added another layer of history. The house has witnessed children growing older. Parents becoming grandparents. Neighbors coming and going. Years passing one after another. Yet tonight it stands exactly where it always has. Sheltering another family through another peaceful night. Outside, the eastern horizon begins showing the slightest hint of change. Not light. Not yet. Only a soft weakening of the darkness. The stars remain visible overhead. The moon still shines. The frost still covers the fields. But morning is coming. The landscape seems to sense it. The trees stand waiting. The barns stand waiting. The fields stand waiting. Everything feels poised for the arrival of a new day. The final embers in the hearth continue glowing quietly. One by one, they fade. Their work is nearly complete. The warmth they created has carried the household through the long night. The stories shared beside the fire have become memories. The conversations have dissolved into silence. The evening itself is becoming part of the past. And yet its feeling remains. The comfort remains. The peace remains. The house still holds them gently. As the stars slowly retreat and the first distant promise of dawn approaches across the American countryside, the sleeping home rests peacefully beside its fading fireplace, surrounded by silence, sheltered by sturdy walls, and carried softly toward the beginning of another day. At last, the first true signs of morning begin to appear. Not in the house. Not yet. Inside, the rooms remain dark and quiet. The family still sleeps. The fireplace still rests beneath its blanket of ash. The clock still marks the passing minutes with its calm and steady voice. But outside, far beyond the windows, the world has begun to change. The eastern horizon is no longer completely black. A faint band of gray has appeared. Soft. Subtle. Almost impossible to notice unless someone is looking carefully. The stars closest to that horizon begin to fade. One by one. Not disappearing all at once, but gently surrendering their place to the coming day. The moon still shines overhead. Its light remains cool and silver. Yet it no longer rules the sky as completely as it did a few hours ago. Morning is approaching. Slowly. Quietly. Patiently. The countryside remains wrapped in stillness. Fields lie beneath their covering of frost. Barns stand silent. Wooden fences stretch across open land. Trees hold their dark shapes against the brightening horizon. Everything waits. The entire landscape seems to pause before the arrival of daylight. Inside the house, a few embers remain hidden beneath the ashes. Most have faded. Only the deepest coals continue to hold traces of warmth. If someone stirred the ashes with a fireplace poker, small points of orange might still appear. Tiny reminders of the fire that burned throughout the evening and much of the night. Experienced families often appreciate this lingering heat. A surviving coal can help awaken a new fire later. A little warmth saved from yesterday can make the beginning of today easier. Such practical knowledge passes quietly through generations. Not through books. Not through formal lessons. But through observation. Through habit. Through daily life. The room feels cool now compared to earlier hours. Not cold. Simply cooler. The warmth that once filled every corner has slowly drifted away. Blankets have become more important. Sleep has become deeper. The final hours before sunrise often bring the coldest temperatures of the day. Outside, frost thickens slightly upon the grass. Each blade carries tiny crystals. The fields shimmer faintly beneath the fading moonlight. The sight is beautiful in its simplicity. No grand spectacle. No dramatic colors. Only silver frost stretching across quiet land. A peaceful beauty. The kind often overlooked. A gentle sound emerges from the stable outside. A horse shifts its weight. Perhaps another answers with a soft snort. Animals often sense morning before people do. Their lives follow ancient rhythms. They know when the darkness is beginning to retreat. They know when feeding time draws near. The sounds drift briefly through the still air. Then silence returns. Inside the house, someone turns over in bed. The mattress creaks softly. A blanket rustles. Then stillness settles once more. The house remains asleep. But not for much longer. The world beyond its walls is already preparing for a new day. The clock continues its faithful duty. Tick. Tock. Tick. Tock. Each second carries the household closer to sunrise. Closer to movement. Closer to activity. Yet there is no hurry. The pace remains gentle. The pace remains calm. The pace remains natural. In the early 1800s, mornings arrive differently than they do in later centuries. There are no alarm clocks ringing in every room. No electric lights suddenly switched on. No machines immediately roaring to life. Instead, People often wake gradually. The changing light helps. The sounds of animals help. The routines of daily life help. Morning unfolds naturally. Just as evening unfolded naturally before it. The transition feels smooth. Almost invisible. Outside, the sky brightens another small amount. Gray becomes pale blue near the horizon. The stars continue fading. The moon loses some of its brilliance. The frost-covered fields become easier to see. Details begin emerging from the darkness. A distant tree. A stone wall. A winding path leading toward a neighboring farm. The landscape slowly reveals itself. Not all at once. Piece by piece. The way a memory returns. The way a photograph gradually appears in a developing tray. Gentle. Patient. Unhurried. Near the fireplace, the cat finally rises. The warmth of the hearth has nearly vanished. The animal stretches long and slowly. Its paws extend forward. Its back arches. Then it begins exploring the quiet room. The movement is graceful. Silent. Comfortable. Cats have spent countless evenings and mornings beside countless fireplaces. They understand the rhythm of a home perhaps better than anyone. The room grows slightly brighter. Moonlight still enters through the windows, but now it mixes with the earliest traces of dawn. The two lights blend together. Silver and blue. Night and morning. The result is soft and beautiful. The house appears suspended between two worlds. Not fully dark. Not fully light. A peaceful moment balanced between yesterday and today. The scent of wood smoke remains faintly present. The smell lingers in old timber. In stone. In fabric. The memory of the fire remains even after the fire itself is nearly gone. Much of life works this way. Moments pass. Yet traces remain. A conversation ends. Yet its warmth continues. An evening ends. Yet its comfort remains. A fire burns out. Yet the memory of its glow stays with those who gathered around it. Outside, the first bird sings. Just one. A small, clear sound carried through the cool morning air. The note lasts only a moment. Then silence returns. But the silence feels different now. The night has been broken. Morning has spoken its first word. Soon other birds will join. Soon the countryside will awaken. Soon smoke will rise again from chimneys. Soon doors will open. Soon boots will step onto frost-covered ground. Soon another day will begin. But not yet. For now, the house still rests. The family still sleeps. The fields remain quiet. The sky continues brightening one gentle shade at a time. And in the peaceful space between night and day, the old home stands quietly beside its sleeping fireplace, holding the final calm moments of the evening that began so many hours ago beside the warm and welcoming glow of the hearth. The first bird is no longer alone. Another voice joins it from a nearby tree. Then another from farther away. The sounds are soft and scattered at first. A few notes here. A few notes there. Nothing loud. Nothing hurried. The countryside is waking gently. The sky above the eastern horizon continues to brighten. What was once dark gray has become a pale shade of blue. The stars are disappearing now. Only the brightest remain visible. They linger for a little while longer before slowly fading into the growing light. The moon is still present, but it no longer dominates the heavens. Its silver glow grows weaker as morning advances. The balance between night and day is shifting. Inside the house, the darkness has softened. Shapes are easier to see. The outline of the fireplace. The sturdy wooden table. The rocking chair near the hearth. The shelves lined with carefully chosen possessions. Nothing has moved. Nothing has changed. And yet the room feels different simply because daylight is returning. Morning has a way of transforming familiar spaces. The same room that felt cozy and enclosed during the evening now begins to feel open and welcoming. The same windows that reflected firelight now welcome the first natural light of day. The house seems to stretch quietly awake. Near the fireplace, the ashes rest undisturbed. The final embers have almost disappeared. Only the faintest traces of heat remain hidden beneath the gray surface. The fire that brought warmth and comfort throughout the evening has finally completed its journey. Its work is done. Yet its presence remains. The stones of the hearth still hold a little warmth. The scent of wood smoke remains in the air. The memories of the evening remain within the walls. Outside, frost covers the ground like a thin blanket. Every field sparkles softly beneath the growing light. Fence posts emerge clearly from the darkness. Trees reveal their shapes once more. The landscape seems to awaken one detail at a time. A winding dirt road becomes visible. A small stream reflects the pale colors of the sky. The roof of a barn catches the first hints of dawn. Everything appears calm, fresh, untouched. A new day always carries a feeling of possibility. Not because anything extraordinary must happen. Simply because it has not happened yet. The hours ahead remain unwritten. The fields have not been worked. The chores have not been completed. The conversations have not yet been spoken. Everything waits quietly. Inside the stable, horses begin moving more frequently. A hoof taps gently against wooden flooring. Leather harnesses shift slightly where they hang. The animals know their routines. Soon people will arrive. Soon the day will begin. For now, they wait patiently. In the house, one member of the family begins to stir. A blanket moves. A bed creaks softly. The person is not fully awake yet. Only beginning the slow journey from sleep toward consciousness. This transition takes time. Especially during cool mornings. The comfort of blankets can be difficult to leave behind. The house itself remains mostly silent. The clock continues ticking. Its rhythm never changes. Day or night. Winter or summer. Year after year. The familiar sound fills the room. Tick. Tock. Tick. Tock. It accompanied the family through supper. It accompanied them through storytelling. It accompanied them through sleep. Now it accompanies them into morning. The first person to rise will likely visit the fireplace before anything else. A new fire must be prepared. Warmth will soon be needed once again. Ashes may be stirred. A surviving coal may be discovered. Fresh kindling may be placed carefully upon the hearth. Soon the familiar cycle will begin again. Fire has always required attention. Yet the effort feels worthwhile. The warmth it provides shapes daily life. Especially during cooler months. Many mornings in 1800s America begin with this simple ritual. The rebuilding of the fire. The welcoming of warmth back into the home. Outside, birds continue adding their voices to the morning. The chorus grows slowly. No single bird dominates. Instead, dozens of small songs blend together. The sound drifts across fields and through forests. A peaceful music created entirely by nature. The frost still covers the ground, but sunlight is coming. Soon the tiny crystals will melt. Soon drops of water will cling to blades of grass. Soon the landscape will take on the familiar appearance of daytime. For now, however, the frost remains. Beautiful in its brief existence. Morning light continues spreading across the countryside. The eastern horizon now glows softly. Pale gold begins mixing with blue. The colors are delicate, subtle. The kind of beauty that rewards patience. A person watching from a porch or doorway would see the world changing minute by minute. Not dramatically. Just steadily. As though the earth itself is taking a slow, deep breath. Inside the house, another sleeper begins to wake. Then another. The stillness of the night gradually gives way to the quiet activity of morning. No one rushes. No one hurries. The pace remains gentle. The pace remains human. Life in much of early America often follows these natural rhythms. People rise with daylight. They work with daylight. They rest when darkness returns. The cycle repeats. Day after day. Season after season. Year after year. There is comfort in that rhythm. Comfort in knowing what comes next. Comfort in familiar routines. Comfort in simple tasks completed well. The house has witnessed this cycle countless times. It has watched evenings become nights. Nights become mornings. Mornings become afternoons. And then evenings return once more. The fireplace has witnessed it too. Each day begins and ends around its warmth. Each season leaves traces upon its stones. Each generation gathers around its glow. The hearth stands quietly at the center of family life. A source of light. A source of warmth. A source of comfort. As the sky brightens further and the birds continue their songs, the peaceful home slowly awakens from its night's rest. The memories of the evening remain. The warmth of the fireplace lingers in the air. And the first moments of a new day unfold gently across the American countryside, carrying forward the same quiet rhythm that has guided countless mornings before. Morning arrives slowly across the countryside. The sky continues brightening above the eastern horizon. The pale gold colors deepen slightly, spreading across fields, forests, and distant hills. The last stars have nearly vanished now. Only the faintest traces remain high overhead. The moon, which watched over the long evening and quiet night, grows pale against the strengthening light of dawn. Its work is nearly finished. Soon it will disappear into the brightness of day. Outside the house, frost still covers the ground. Tiny crystals cling to grass and fence rails. The world seems freshly polished. Clean. Still. Waiting. The first sunlight has not yet touched the fields directly, but its arrival feels close. The countryside senses it. The birds certainly do. Their morning songs have become more frequent. More voices join the chorus every few minutes. The sound drifts across open land and through stands of trees. It fills the cool air with gentle life. Inside the house, one of the adults finally sits up in bed. The movement is slow. There is no alarm clock demanding immediate action. No sudden rush. The waking process happens naturally. Eyes open. Thoughts return gradually. The quiet awareness of a new day begins to settle in. For a moment, the person simply listens. The distant birds. The ticking clock. The peaceful sounds of a house beginning to wake. These first moments of morning often feel especially calm. The responsibilities of the day have not yet fully arrived. There is still a lingering connection to the peaceful hours of night. Eventually, feet touch the floor. The boards feel cool beneath them. A blanket is folded back. A simple routine begins. Elsewhere in the house, other family members remain asleep. For now. Soon they too will wake. But morning moves through a household one person at a time. The first person to rise often enjoys a few moments of solitude. A few moments of quiet before the day truly begins. The individual walks softly through the dim room. The familiar layout requires no thought. Every chair, every shelf, every doorway is known by heart. The house feels almost like an extension of memory itself. Near the fireplace, the ashes wait silently. The fire that filled the room with warmth during the evening has become a bed of gray and white. Yet beneath the surface, there may still be life. A careful hand reaches for the fireplace poker. The ashes are stirred gently. Almost immediately, a small point of orange appears. Then another. A surviving coal. A tiny pocket of hidden warmth preserved through the night. The sight brings quiet satisfaction. A surviving ember makes the morning's work easier. Fresh kindling is gathered. Thin pieces of dry wood are placed carefully above the coals. Patience is important. Fire responds best to patience. A small flame appears. Then another. The new day begins with a familiar glow. Soon the fireplace will once again fill the room with warmth and light. The cycle continues. Evening fire. Night embers. Morning flame. Day after day. Year after year. Outside, the first rays of sunlight finally touch the tops of distant trees. The effect is beautiful. Golden light appears suddenly along the highest branches. Then slowly descends. The frost sparkles brightly where sunlight reaches it. The fields begin shining. The landscape awakens. The transformation feels gentle rather than dramatic. Nature rarely rushes. The sunlight spreads gradually across the countryside. Touching fences. Touching rooftops. Touching barns and fields. Everything seems to emerge from darkness into light. Inside the house, the rekindled fire crackles softly. Its sound feels familiar. Welcoming. The room immediately seems warmer. More alive. The scent of fresh smoke drifts upward through the chimney. Soon a kettle may be placed near the flames. Soon breakfast preparations may begin. Morning routines often center around the hearth just as evening routines do. The fireplace remains important throughout the entire day. A cat appears from somewhere deeper inside the house. Perhaps it spent part of the night sleeping near the dying embers. Now it approaches the newly revived fire. The animal pauses. Observes. Then settles nearby once again. Certain habits never change. Warmth remains attractive. Especially on cool mornings. Outside, the frost begins surrendering to sunlight. Tiny droplets of water replace the delicate crystals. The grass glistens. Small streams of melted frost gather along fence posts and leaves. The world transitions from the stillness of night toward the activity of day. The sounds increase slowly. A rooster calls from somewhere nearby. Another answers. Farm animals begin moving about. The countryside stretches and wakes. Each sound arrives naturally. Each belongs to the morning. Within the house, additional family members begin to stir. A door opens quietly. Footsteps cross a floor. Soft voices exchange simple greetings. Nothing loud. Nothing hurried. The peaceful mood of the evening has not entirely disappeared. It lingers within the gentle pace of the morning. A child rubs sleepy eyes. Another yawns. Someone wraps a blanket around their shoulders while crossing the room. The fire provides a welcoming destination. People naturally gather near its warmth, just as they did the previous evening. The hearth remains the heart of the home. Yesterday's conversations have ended. Today's conversations have not yet fully begun. The household exists in a pleasant space between the two. A fresh start. A new chapter. A new day. The clock continues ticking faithfully. Its steady rhythm accompanies the morning exactly as it accompanied the night. Time moves forward. Quietly. Consistently. Without drawing attention to itself. The growing sunlight enters through the windows. The room changes with every passing minute. Shadows retreat. Colors become clearer. Details emerge. The wooden grain of the table. The texture of a handmade quilt. The smooth surface of a well-used chair. Everything becomes visible again. The home feels different in daylight, yet equally comforting. Outside, the countryside is fully awake now. Birds move among branches. Animals explore fields. A breeze carries the scent of earth and grass. The sky above is becoming a brighter shade of blue. The long night is over. The calm evening that began beside the fireplace so many hours ago has gently transformed into a peaceful morning. And as the rekindled fire crackles softly within the old house, another ordinary day begins across the American countryside, connected to the day before it and the day after it by the simple, enduring rhythm of home, family, and the warm glow of the hearth. The morning continues to unfold across the countryside. Sunlight now reaches most of the fields surrounding the house. The frost that covered the grass only a short while ago has almost completely disappeared. Tiny drops of moisture cling to leaves and fence posts, sparkling briefly whenever they catch the light. The world feels fresh, renewed, ready for another day. Inside the house, the fire has grown stronger. The small flames that were carefully coaxed from hidden embers have become a steady morning fire. New logs rest upon the grate. Their surfaces darken as they warm. Soon they begin contributing their own heat to the room. The fireplace once again becomes the center of activity. Its glow feels different in daylight. Less dramatic. Less mysterious. Yet no less comforting. The fire's purpose remains the same. Warmth. Light. Comfort. The simple essentials. A kettle now hangs near the flames. Water warms slowly. Steam begins rising in delicate curls. The scent of breakfast preparations drifts through the room. Fresh bread may be sliced. Cornmeal may be prepared. Perhaps eggs gathered earlier from the chicken coop will soon find their place on the table. Morning meals are often practical, designed to provide energy for the hours ahead. The work of the day is waiting outside. Fields do not tend themselves. Animals do not feed themselves. Wood does not split itself. Life in rural America requires steady effort. Yet there is no sense of burden in these moments. Only routine. The familiar rhythm of another ordinary day. The family gathers gradually. One person arrives at the table. Then another. Children appear, still carrying traces of sleep in their expressions. The youngest may sit quietly for a while before fully waking. Others begin speaking softly. The first conversations of the morning are often simple, practical, gentle. There is no need for excitement. The day has only just begun. Outside, smoke rises from the chimney. It drifts upward into the cool morning air. The sight is common throughout the countryside. Other homes are waking too. Other fireplaces are being lit. Other families are gathering for breakfast. Across miles of fields and forests, Similar scenes unfold. The details vary from house to house. Yet the feeling remains remarkably familiar. Warmth. Routine. Connection. A sense of belonging. The sunlight grows brighter. The room fills with natural light. The shadows that dominated the evening and night have completely withdrawn. Every object appears clear and familiar. The rocking chair that stood beside the fire last night waits quietly in its usual place. The books on the shelf remain where they were left. The blanket folded over the chair arm still carries a slight memory of warmth. The room tells the story of the previous evening without speaking a word. History often lives in such small details. Not only in great events. Not only in famous names. But in ordinary objects quietly serving everyday lives. A worn chair. A handmade quilt. A wooden spoon. A fireplace built from stone and care. These things help tell the story of a household. And through households, they help tell the story of a nation. The early 19th century is a time of change in America. Roads improve. Towns grow. New settlements appear farther west. Rivers carry trade and travelers. Ideas move from place to place. The country continues expanding and evolving. Yet many mornings remain remarkably simple. Many families begin their days in ways their grandparents would recognize. A fire. A meal. A gathering of loved ones. The enduring patterns of daily life continue despite larger changes happening beyond the horizon. Outside, a farmer steps into the yard. The cool air greets him immediately. He pauses for a moment. Perhaps to observe the weather. Perhaps simply to enjoy the freshness of the morning. The sky is clear today. A good sign. The fields stretch outward beneath the growing sunlight. There is work waiting there. But there is also beauty. The beauty of open land. The beauty of familiar surroundings. The beauty of another peaceful morning. Nearby, animals begin their own routines. Chickens scratch at the ground. A horse lowers its head toward fresh hay. Cows move slowly through a pasture. Their movements are calm. Unhurried. The entire farm seems to awaken in stages. Life gradually spreads outward from the house. The fireplace remains active behind the windows. The warmth inside contrasts pleasantly with the coolness outside. For a few moments, the farmer may glance back toward the chimney. A thin stream of smoke rises into the blue sky. It is a simple sight. Yet it carries meaning. It means breakfast is being prepared. It means family is nearby. It means home. Back inside, the fire crackles softly. Its voice is different from the voice it had during the evening. Last night, the flames seemed to invite relaxation. Now they support activity. The same fire serves different purposes depending upon the hour. In many ways, the fireplace mirrors the life of the household itself. Sometimes busy. Sometimes quiet. Always present. The clock continues marking the passage of time. Morning moves steadily forward. Soon the family members will separate to begin their various tasks. Children may help with chores. Adults may head toward fields, gardens, workshops, or barns. The peaceful gathering around breakfast will slowly come to an end. Yet the memory of the evening remains. Only a few hours ago, the room glowed with firelight and shadows. Only a few hours ago, stars filled the sky beyond the windows. Only a few hours ago, the house rested quietly beneath the moon. Now sunlight fills every corner. The transformation feels remarkable. Yet it happens every day. So often that people rarely stop to consider it. The cycle of evening, night, and morning continues endlessly. Each part has its own beauty. Each part has its own purpose. And for families in 1800s America, the fireplace stands at the center of it all. A companion through darkness. A companion through daylight. A constant source of comfort in a changing world. The morning grows brighter still. Voices become more frequent. Footsteps become more common. The quiet stillness of night has fully given way to the gentle activity of day. And as the fire burns steadily within the hearth, another ordinary morning takes shape across the countryside, carrying forward the same peaceful rhythms that have guided countless homes through countless seasons. The morning settles comfortably into its rhythm. The first meal of the day has been shared. The warmth of breakfast lingers in both the room and the people who gathered there. Sunlight pours through the windows now, filling the house with a clear and gentle brightness. Outside, the countryside is fully awake. The fields no longer carry traces of frost. The grass bends softly beneath the movement of a light breeze. Birds travel between trees and fences, busy with their own morning routines. The sky overhead stretches wide and blue. It promises a calm day. Inside the house, the fireplace continues burning steadily. Its role has changed once again. The evening fire was a gathering place. The nighttime embers were quiet guardians. Now the morning fire supports the work ahead. Water can be heated. Meals can be prepared. The room can remain warm and welcoming. The hearth quietly serves the household in dozens of ways. A person kneels near the fireplace and adjusts one of the logs. A small shower of sparks rises. The flames respond immediately, brightening, stretching upward, then settling once more. Managing a fire is a skill learned through experience. There is an understanding between the person and the flame. Too much wood and the fire becomes wasteful. Too little and it weakens. The balance is important. Like many aspects of life during this period, success often comes from patience and observation rather than speed. The table has begun to clear. Plates are gathered. Cups are moved aside. The evidence of breakfast slowly disappears. Yet the feeling of shared company remains. Meals create natural moments of connection. People pause. They sit together. They begin and end the day in one another's presence. Those simple routines help shape family life. The house itself seems content. Sunlight reaches places that firelight never touched. Corners once hidden in shadow now appear bright and familiar. The wooden floorboards reveal their grain. The walls display years of careful maintenance. Every object reflects daily use. Nothing is extravagant. Everything has purpose. That practical simplicity defines many homes of the era. People value usefulness. A chair must be comfortable. A table must be sturdy. A shelf must hold what is needed. Beauty exists too, but it often appears through craftsmanship rather than decoration. A well-made object carries its own quiet beauty. Outside, work has begun. The farmer who stepped into the yard earlier now moves toward the barn. His pace is steady. There is no reason to rush. The tasks ahead are familiar. They have been performed many times before. Animals need feeding. Equipment requires attention. The land itself asks for care. The rhythm of farm life is built upon repetition. The same chores return each day. Yet they rarely feel exactly the same. The weather changes. The seasons change. The condition of the fields changes. Life remains familiar, but never completely identical. A horse watches calmly as the farmer approaches. The animal knows the routine as well. Humans and animals often develop shared habits through years of daily interaction. There is comfort in predictability. Comfort in knowing what comes next. Back inside the house, one of the children stands near a window. Perhaps they are watching birds move through the yard. Perhaps they are simply enjoying the sunlight. Children often notice details adults overlook. A feather drifting through the air. A squirrel racing along a fence. A cloud taking an unusual shape. The world feels full of small discoveries. The morning offers many such opportunities. The child eventually turns away from the window and rejoins the household activities. The day is waiting. The clock continues ticking. Its steady rhythm remains unchanged. The sound blends naturally with the other noises of the morning. Footsteps crossing the floor. The crackle of burning wood. The clink of dishes being stacked. Together they create the gentle soundtrack of daily life. Nothing is loud. Nothing is overwhelming. Every sound feels appropriate to its place. Outside, the breeze carries the scent of earth and grass. The air feels fresh. Clean. The kind of air that encourages deep breaths. Across much of rural America, mornings often begin with this freshness. Before the heat of afternoon arrives. Before the dust of roads is stirred by wagons. Before the long hours of labor fully unfold. Morning possesses a unique calm. A calm that slowly fades as the day becomes busier. Yet traces of it often remain. Especially on peaceful days like this one. The farmhouse sits quietly amid its surroundings. Fields stretch outward. Trees provide shade along the edges of the property. A stream may flow somewhere nearby. The landscape feels settled. Established. Connected to the people who live upon it. Years of effort have shaped the land. Fences were built. Fields were cleared. Gardens were planted. Structures were raised. Every improvement required work. Every improvement became part of the family's story. The fireplace is part of that story too. Perhaps the stones were gathered locally. Perhaps neighbors helped construct the chimney. Perhaps family members spent days carefully building the hearth. Now, years later, it remains one of the most important places in the home. A source of continuity. A source of comfort. A source of countless memories. The morning sun climbs higher. The light grows warmer. Shadows become shorter. The day continues unfolding. Yet even as activity increases, the peaceful feeling of the previous evening has not vanished completely. It lingers in the familiar room. It lingers in the warmth of the hearth. It lingers in the quiet confidence of routine. Life does not always require grand events to feel meaningful. Sometimes meaning comes from repetition. From familiar faces. From shared meals. From a fire carefully tended through the night and rekindled in the morning. Those simple experiences form the foundation of daily life. They connect one day to the next. One season to the next. One generation to the next. The flames continue dancing softly within the fireplace. Sunlight continues streaming through the windows. The countryside continues waking around the house. And another peaceful day in 1800s America begins its slow and steady journey, carried forward by the same enduring rhythms of home, work, family, and the comforting presence of the hearth that watched over the evening before. The morning hours move gently across the countryside. The sun has now risen well above the horizon, spreading its light over fields, roads, gardens, and woodlands. The coolness of dawn is slowly giving way to the comfortable warmth of day. Around the farmhouse, daily life unfolds in a calm and familiar pattern. Nothing feels rushed. Nothing feels dramatic. The day proceeds as countless other days have proceeded before it. Steadily. Quietly. One task at a time. Inside the house, the fireplace continues burning. Its flames are no longer the center of attention as they were during the evening, yet their presence remains important. The fire provides warmth. The fire heats water. The fire assists with cooking. Even when people are busy with other things, the hearth remains at the heart of the home. A person passes nearby and places another small log onto the fire. The movement is almost automatic. Years of habit have made such actions second nature. The log settles among the coals. The flames welcome it immediately. A gentle crackling sound fills the room. The smell of warm wood drifts upward. Outside, the farmyard grows more active. Chickens wander across open ground in search of seeds and insects. A dog patrols familiar paths around the property. Its movements are relaxed. Confident. The animal knows every corner of the yard. Every fence. Every tree. Every building. The farm is its world. The same can be said for many people living in rural America during this period. Daily life often revolves around a relatively small area. The nearby fields. The nearest town. The local church. The homes of neighbors. Travel exists, of course, but most days are spent close to home. That closeness creates a deep familiarity with the landscape. People know which trees bloom first in spring. They know where snow gathers deepest during winter. They know which sections of a field dry first after rain. The land becomes almost like an old friend. A trusted companion through the years. The sunlight continues brightening the countryside. Dew still clings to some patches of grass hidden in the shade. Tiny droplets catch the light and sparkle briefly before disappearing. Nature is full of these small moments. Beautiful but temporary. Easy to overlook unless someone takes the time to notice them. Life in the 1800s often encourages such observation. Without constant distractions, people naturally pay attention to their surroundings. They notice changing weather. They notice birds returning in spring. They notice the smell of rain before a storm. They notice the way sunlight falls across a field at different times of day. The world reveals itself slowly. Patiently. To those willing to look. Inside the house, sunlight fills the room where the family gathered around the fire the previous evening. Everything appears different now. The shadows have vanished. The flickering glow has been replaced by steady daylight. Yet the room remains just as welcoming. Perhaps even more so. The rocking chair sits quietly near the fireplace. The same chair that gently creaked during the evening. The same chair where stories may have been shared. The same chair where someone may have drifted toward sleep while watching the flames. Now it waits peacefully for its next use. Many objects inside the home carry similar memories. The dining table remembers countless meals. The bookshelf remembers countless readings. The fireplace remembers countless evenings. Ordinary objects quietly witness extraordinary amounts of life. Outside, a wagon passes along a distant road. The sound arrives gradually. The creak of wooden wheels. The steady rhythm of horse hooves. The noise grows louder for a moment. Then fades once more as the wagon continues its journey. Travel in the early 19th century often requires patience. Roads can be rough. Distances can feel long. Journeys may take hours or even days. Yet travel also brings connection. Goods move between communities. News spreads from town to town. Letters find their way to distant families. The wider world remains connected, even when life feels local. Back at the farmhouse, work continues. A garden may require attention. Weeds must be removed. Plants must be checked. The condition of the soil must be observed. Gardens play an important role in many households. They provide vegetables throughout the growing season. They help families remain self-sufficient. Every healthy plant represents future meals, future comfort, future security. The work itself can feel peaceful. Hands moving through rich earth. Birdsong drifting through the air. Sunlight warming the ground. There is satisfaction in caring for something and watching it grow. The same satisfaction appears throughout rural life. Building, repairing, planting, harvesting. These activities create a direct connection between effort and result. The fireplace reflects that connection too. Someone gathered the wood. Someone split it. Someone stacked it. Now the fire burns because of that effort. The warmth filling the room comes from work completed long before. The relationship between preparation and comfort is easy to see. As the morning progresses, the sky becomes a deeper blue. A few white clouds drift slowly overhead. Their shadows move lazily across distant fields. The breeze remains gentle. The weather seems content to cooperate. Not every day is so pleasant. Storms arrive. Heat arrives. Cold arrives. But today feels calm. Balanced. Comfortable. The sort of day that people remember not because of anything remarkable, but because everything simply felt right. Inside the house, a loaf of bread may cool upon a table. The smell fills the room. Fresh bread possesses a unique ability to make a house feel welcoming. The scent drifts through open spaces. Warm. Rich. Familiar. It combines with the smell of wood smoke from the fireplace. Together they create an atmosphere that feels deeply connected to home. Hours pass. The morning slowly approaches midday. The sun climbs higher. The shadows shorten. The sounds of work continue across the property. Yet beneath all of it remains the same steady rhythm that guided the previous evening. A rhythm of patience. A rhythm of care. A rhythm of simple living. The fireplace continues burning quietly. The house continues sheltering those within. The countryside continues stretching peacefully toward the horizon. And another ordinary day unfolds across 1800s America, built not from grand events or dramatic moments, but from countless small acts of effort, comfort, and connection, all centered around the enduring warmth of home. The morning gradually gives way to late morning. The sun climbs higher into the sky, and the countryside settles into the comfortable rhythm of a working day. The freshness of dawn remains in memory, but the day has developed its own character now. The farmhouse stands quietly beneath the growing sunlight. Its wooden walls glow softly in the morning light. The chimney still sends a thin trail of smoke upward into the blue sky. From a distance, the home appears peaceful and steady. A small center of warmth and life surrounded by fields and open land. Inside, the fireplace continues its quiet service. The flames are smaller now than they were earlier in the morning. Only enough wood has been added to maintain a comfortable warmth. The household understands the value of fuel. Wood represents labor. Every log once stood in a forest. Every log had to be cut, split, carried, and stacked. Nothing is wasted. The fire is tended thoughtfully, carefully, with the same patience that guides so many aspects of daily life. Sunlight streams through the windows and falls across the floorboards. The patterns shift slowly as the hours pass. A bright patch of light stretches across the room. It touches the leg of a chair. It reaches the edge of a woven rug. Then, little by little, it moves onward. The movement is so gradual that it can hardly be noticed. Yet it never stops. The house itself seems aware of these changes. Every room experiences the day differently. Morning sunlight enters one window. Afternoon sunlight enters another. The familiar cycle repeats day after day. Outside, work continues across the farm. Some tasks require strength. Others require patience. Many require both. A fence may need repair. A gate may need adjustment. Tools may need cleaning or sharpening. The small responsibilities of daily life rarely disappear. Yet there is satisfaction in addressing them one by one. Many people of the period understand that steady progress often matters more than speed. A task completed carefully is often better than a task completed quickly. This philosophy quietly shapes daily routines. The same patient approach appears in cooking, farming, building, and countless other activities. Even the fireplace reflects this lesson. A good fire is built carefully, not hurriedly. Good warmth comes from thoughtful preparation. The countryside itself seems to encourage patience. Trees take years to grow. Fields follow seasonal cycles. Weather cannot be rushed. Nature moves at its own pace. People learn to move with it. Near the farmhouse, a gentle breeze stirs the leaves of a large tree. The sound is soft and pleasant. A whispering sound. A sound that has accompanied rural life for generations. Beneath the tree, patches of shade offer relief from the strengthening sunlight. The shadows sway gently as branches move overhead. It is the kind of place where someone might pause briefly during a busy day. A moment of rest. A moment of quiet observation. A moment to simply listen. Birdsong still drifts across the property. Though the dawn chorus has ended, birds remain active. Some search for food. Others gather materials for nests. Their lives continue according to their own rhythms. The natural world remains busy, even when it appears peaceful. Inside the house, the morning's activities continue. Perhaps clothing is being mended. Perhaps food is being prepared for later in the day. Perhaps someone sits near a window engaged in reading or writing. Many tasks require attention without requiring haste. Hands remain busy. Minds remain calm. The atmosphere feels productive without feeling stressful. The fireplace crackles softly in the background. Its presence remains reassuring. The sound has become part of the household's identity. Every home possesses certain familiar sounds. The ticking clock. The creak of a floorboard. The opening of a door. The crackle of a fire. These sounds create a sense of belonging. They become woven into memory. Years later, hearing a similar sound may bring an entire room back to mind. The warmth. The people. The feeling of home. Outside, the road remains quiet. Only occasionally does a traveler pass by. A wagon carrying goods. A neighbor heading toward town. A rider delivering news or letters. Each journey represents a small thread connecting one community to another. Though much of life feels local, people are never entirely isolated. Relationships stretch across miles of countryside. Families visit one another. Neighbors assist one another. Communities grow through countless small interactions. The spirit of cooperation often proves important. Especially during difficult seasons. Especially when unexpected challenges arise. Yet today feels uncomplicated. A calm day. A comfortable day. The sort of day that quietly passes without drawing attention to itself. The sort of day that makes up most of life. History books often focus on dramatic events. But ordinary days are where most people spend their lives. Ordinary mornings. Ordinary afternoons. Ordinary evenings beside the fire. These moments form the true texture of history. The true texture of human experience. The sun continues its steady climb. The shadows around the farmhouse shorten. The air grows warmer. A few clouds drift lazily overhead. Their shapes change gradually as they cross the sky. No one watches them constantly. Yet they contribute to the peaceful mood of the day. Nature provides a gentle backdrop to daily life. Always present. Always changing. Always familiar. Inside, the fireplace remains steady. The flames dance quietly behind the iron grate. The warmth spreads softly through the room. The scent of wood smoke lingers faintly in the air. Even in daylight, the hearth remains comforting. A reminder of the evening before. A promise of the evening still to come. For when the sun eventually lowers and shadows return, the family will once again gather near the fire. The cycle will continue. Just as it always has. Just as it always seems destined to do. For now, however, the day belongs to sunlight and work. The fields shine beneath the blue sky. The farmhouse stands strong and welcoming. The fire burns patiently within its hearth. And the peaceful rhythm of life in 1800s America carries onward, one quiet hour at a time, guided by routine, sustained by effort, and warmed by the enduring comfort of home. The day continues its gentle journey toward noon. The sun now stands high enough to cast a bright and even light across the countryside. Fields stretch toward the horizon beneath a clear sky. The cool freshness of morning has faded, replaced by the mild warmth of late morning. Around the farmhouse, life moves with calm purpose. There is work to do, certainly. But there is no sense of rushing. The rhythm remains steady. Measured. Comfortable. Many tasks have already been completed. Others still wait. And some can wait a little longer. Life in the countryside often teaches people that not every task must be finished immediately. The land itself moves according to larger rhythms. The seasons cannot be hurried. The weather cannot be commanded. The sun rises and sets on its own schedule. People learn patience by living close to such realities. Inside the house, the fireplace burns quietly. The flames have settled into a gentle, steady glow. No longer the lively fire of morning. No longer the glowing embers of night. Simply a dependable source of warmth. The hearth has become part of the background once more. Always present. Always useful. A kettle still rests nearby. Its metal surface catches occasional flashes of sunlight entering through the windows. The room feels peaceful. Sunlit. Comfortable. The same room that held deep shadows and flickering firelight many hours ago now feels open and bright. Yet somehow it remains the same room. The same home. The same center of family life. A rocking chair near the fireplace moves slightly. Perhaps someone has just risen from it. Perhaps a gentle draft stirred it. The movement is small. Almost unnoticeable. Yet it adds to the feeling that the house is alive. Not in a dramatic way. In a quiet way. A lived-in way. Homes gather personality over time. The marks of daily use become part of their character. A smooth spot on a wooden table. A worn section of flooring near a doorway. A favorite chair positioned near the hearth. These details tell stories without words. Outside, Sunlight glimmers on the leaves of nearby trees. The breeze remains gentle. Leaves rustle softly overhead. The sound drifts across the yard like a distant whisper. Nature rarely remains completely silent. Even on peaceful days, there is always something. The movement of branches. The call of a bird. The distant murmur of flowing water. Together these sounds create the background music of rural life. A horse grazes quietly in a nearby pasture. Its movements are slow and relaxed. Occasionally it lifts its head to observe its surroundings. Then returns to feeding. Animals often seem perfectly content with simple routines. Food, water, shelter, sunlight. Their needs are uncomplicated. Perhaps that simplicity explains why watching them can feel so calming. The same peaceful quality exists throughout much of the countryside. The landscape asks little. It simply exists. Fields grow. Trees sway. Streams flow. Clouds drift overhead. Everything follows its natural course. Inside the farmhouse, the family members continue their various activities. The younger children may be helping with simple chores. Tasks appropriate for small hands. Tasks designed not only to help but also to teach responsibility. Learning often happens through participation. By observing. By practicing. By doing. Many important lessons pass from one generation to the next in this quiet way. Not through formal instruction alone, but through shared daily life. The fireplace itself becomes part of that education. Children learn how fires are built, how wood is stored, how ashes are cleaned, how warmth is maintained during winter. These lessons become ordinary knowledge. Skills carried into adulthood. Skills carried into future homes. Outside, a few clouds drift slowly across the sky. Their shadows move lazily across distant fields. The patterns of light and shade create subtle changes in the landscape. One moment a hillside glows brightly. The next it rests beneath a cool shadow. Then sunlight returns once more. The world seems alive with these gentle transitions. No single moment remains exactly the same. Yet the overall feeling of peace continues. Near the road, wildflowers bloom along fences and grassy edges. Their colors add small touches of beauty to the countryside. Many travelers notice them while passing. Perhaps not consciously. But the flowers contribute to the character of the landscape. The world feels friendlier because they are there. Small details often matter more than people realize. A flower beside a road. A bird singing from a branch. The smell of fresh bread drifting through an open window. Such things quietly enrich daily life. Back inside, sunlight now reaches deeper into the room. The bright patch on the floor has shifted once again. The movement of sunlight acts as a silent clock. People who spend years in the same house often know exactly what time it is simply by observing where the light falls. The home itself becomes familiar in every season and every hour. Its changing moods become well known. Morning light. Afternoon light. Evening shadows. Firelight after sunset. Each brings its own atmosphere. Each creates its own memories. The fireplace waits patiently for evening's return. Though still active, it seems quieter now. Its greatest importance will come later, when the sun begins to set and family members gather together once again. For now, daylight remains in command. The hours ahead belong to work and ordinary responsibilities. Yet even during busy times, comfort remains close at hand. The warmth of the hearth. The shelter of the home. The familiarity of routine. These things create a foundation beneath everyday life. A sense of stability. A sense of belonging. A sense of peace. The sun continues climbing toward its highest point. The countryside glows beneath its light. The farmhouse stands quietly amid fields and trees. And within its sturdy walls, life continues at its gentle pace, shaped by simple tasks, familiar surroundings, and the enduring presence of the fireplace that remains the quiet heart of the home. As late morning slowly approaches noon, the countryside settles into one of the quietest and most balanced parts of the day. The excitement of sunrise has passed. The long shadows of early morning have disappeared. The golden colors of dawn have softened into the bright and steady light of midday. Everything feels settled, comfortable, certain. The farmhouse rests peacefully beneath the sun. Its windows reflect patches of blue sky. The wooden boards of its exterior have weathered many seasons. Summer heat, autumn winds, winter snow, spring rain. Year after year, the house has stood through them all. Each season has left small marks upon it. Each year has added another layer of history. Yet the home remains sturdy and welcoming. Inside, the familiar room around the fireplace feels calm and bright. Sunlight now fills nearly every corner. The shadows that seemed so deep during the evening are difficult to imagine. The room appears larger in daylight. More open. More cheerful. Yet it still carries traces of the night before. The fireplace itself serves as a quiet reminder. Only hours ago, flames danced across its hearth while family members gathered nearby. Stories may have been shared. Thoughts may have been exchanged. Silence may have been enjoyed. Now the room serves different purposes. But the memory remains. The fire continues burning gently. The flames are modest, practical, steady. A fire does not always need to command attention. Sometimes it simply does its work quietly. Much like the people who live here. Outside, the sounds of daily life drift through the open air. A distant hammer strikes wood somewhere nearby. A horse pulls a wagon along a road. Birds call from trees at the edge of a field. The sounds blend naturally with one another. None seem out of place. Together they create the living voice of the countryside. There is activity. But there is also peace. The two exist comfortably side by side. Many people today imagine history as a series of dramatic events. Battles. Speeches. Discoveries. Important dates. Yet for most people living in 1800s America, life is built from quieter moments. A morning spent repairing a fence. An afternoon spent tending a garden. An evening spent beside a fireplace. These moments rarely appear in official records. Yet they form the foundation of everyday existence. They are the true rhythm of life. The true heartbeat of history. Near the farmhouse, a few chickens move through patches of sunlight and shade. They scratch at the earth with patient determination. Occasionally one discovers something interesting. A seed. An insect. A small treasure visible only to a chicken. The flock shifts slowly across the yard. Busy. Purposeful. Content. Watching such simple activity can be surprisingly calming. Perhaps because it reminds us that life does not always need to be complicated. Not every moment requires urgency. Not every hour requires achievement. Sometimes simply moving through the day is enough. Inside the house, someone pauses near a window. The view outside is familiar. Fields. Trees. A fence stretching toward the horizon. Perhaps the person has seen this same view thousands of times. Yet familiarity often creates affection rather than boredom. People grow attached to landscapes, attached to places, attached to the details that make a location feel like home. The farmhouse itself represents years of memories. Every room holds traces of earlier days. The walls have witnessed celebrations, conversations, quiet evenings, long winters, happy mornings, difficult moments too. A home contains all of life, not only its joyful chapters. The fireplace has witnessed everything. Generations have sat before its flames. Children have warmed themselves beside it. Parents have cooked meals over its fire. Grandparents have watched embers fade into ash while reflecting upon years gone by. The hearth remains constant while lives change around it. That quiet constancy gives it a special place in the household. Outside, the breeze strengthens slightly. Leaves shimmer in the sunlight. The movement creates shifting patterns of light beneath the trees. The air remains pleasant. Not too warm. Not too cool. A comfortable day. The kind of day people often remember years later without knowing exactly why. Not because anything extraordinary happened, but because everything felt peaceful, balanced, right. The hours pass gently. Time rarely feels rushed in moments like these. The clock inside the house continues its steady work. Tick. Tock. Tick. Tock. Its rhythm accompanies the day just as it accompanied the night. Hours flow together. Morning becomes afternoon. Afternoon will eventually become evening. The cycle never stops. Yet it never feels repetitive. Each day arrives carrying its own weather, its own light, its own small details. Nature ensures that even familiar routines contain subtle variations. A different cloud, a different breeze, a different bird song. Small changes give life texture. Inside the farmhouse, the warmth of the fire combines with the warmth of sunlight. The room feels especially welcoming. The sort of room where someone might comfortably spend an hour reading, writing a letter, mending clothing, or simply sitting quietly with their thoughts. Such moments of stillness were often easier to find in the slower pace of 19th century life. Silence was not something to be avoided. It was simply another part of the day. A natural companion. Outside, the sun continues climbing toward noon. The shadows beneath fences and trees become shorter. The fields glow beneath the bright sky. The entire countryside seems settled into a peaceful rhythm. Nothing dramatic. Nothing urgent. Only the steady unfolding of another ordinary day. And within the farmhouse, the fireplace continues its quiet work, carrying forward the same warmth that comforted the family the night before, reminding everyone that while seasons change and years pass, some simple sources of comfort remain wonderfully constant. As the day reaches its quiet middle hours, the farmhouse rests in a gentle balance between light and warmth. Outside, the sun stands high above the fields, casting a steady brightness over the land. The countryside is fully awake now, yet it carries no sense of noise or hurry. It simply exists in calm motion, fields stretching outward, trees standing still in the breeze, distant paths leading toward places unseen but familiar. Inside the house, everything feels settled. The morning's small tasks have been completed. The sounds of early movement have softened into stillness. Only the soft presence of everyday life remains. The fireplace continues to burn quietly. Not as it did during the night, when it held the center of the home in flickering light and shadow. Not as it did in the early morning, when it helped bring warmth back into sleeping rooms. But now, in a steady and peaceful way, it simply exists as part of the house's heartbeat. A few flames move gently over the wood. A few embers glow beneath. Warmth spreads through the room without effort. It feels natural. Like breathing. The farmhouse itself seems to rest. Sunlight fills the room through wide windows, touching familiar objects that have been here for years. The table where meals are shared. The chair where someone once sat in silence during a long evening. The worn floorboards shaped by countless footsteps. Everything holds a quiet memory of living. Not loud memories. Not dramatic ones. Just the soft accumulation of ordinary days. And in those ordinary days, something lasting has been built. A home. A life. A sense of belonging that does not need to be spoken aloud. Outside, a light wind passes through the fields. It moves across the grass in slow waves, as if the land itself is gently breathing. A few birds circle overhead, then drift away toward the trees. Somewhere in the distance, a wagon passes along a road, its sound fading before it ever fully arrives. The world continues moving forward. But here, in this moment, everything feels briefly suspended. Time does not stop. But it softens. Inside the house, the sound of the clock continues its steady rhythm. Tick. Tock. Not loud. Not demanding. Just present. A reminder that the day is still unfolding, even in silence. The fire shifts slightly. A small log settles into the coals. A faint crackle follows.